are traditions in sports that transcend time and are treasured as years go by. Like the timeless Pacific Ocean rolling just yards away from its historic grounds, in horse racing, the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club is one such tradition. Founded by legendary entertainer Bing Crosby in 1937, Del Mar created its signature race in 1991, the Pacific Classic. With a name intimating greatness, Knightsbridge has traveled west from his eastern base and is the favorite to win Del Mar's defining race. Welcome to where the turf meets the surf here on Fox Sports 2. It's America's Day at Del Mar. I'm Todd Schrupp, and every day matters at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club, especially this race, the Pacific Classic. It is absolutely a resume maker. Bill Mott knows that. He's the trainer of Knightsbridge. He also has been here before with the favorite, in fact, one of the heaviest favorites of all time. 30 years ago, he brought Cigar into this race on a 16-race win streak, only to leave with a shocking defeat. He doesn't have a heavy favorite like Cigar this time around, but he does have the horse to beat in Knightsbridge, who draws the far outside it here at 5-2. Knightsbridge headlining a field of 11 here in the 36th running of the Pacific Classic. Joining me on the desk, Grade 1 winning and former trainer Simon Bray, and championship handicapper Jonathan Kenshin. JK, I want to start with you. This is a significant day on a number of levels, but one of them is Fox Sports is here covering this race.
Yeah, it's exciting to have to be here for the first time. If you watch Saratoga, you get to see us all the time. It's exciting for us to get here. We're taking two great coasts with great racing, and you can watch them both here on Fox.
Well, and a horse that we saw on the East Coast on the undercard of the Haskell card was the aforementioned Knightsbridge. He was awesome in the Monmouth Cup.
He certainly was. He got 122 Beyer speed figure. Beyer speed figure is like a quarterback rating in football. The higher, the better. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you, Simon, is he ran very, very fast.
He was. In fact, in the last 20 years, only 6 horses in the country have run a Beyer speed figure of 122 or higher. And Todd, earlier in the year, he was considered what we call a one-turn horse, a 200-meter track runner in athletics parlance. But he stretched out. He's gone 1,500. They're going to try and go a little further today. If you look at his pedigree, he's absolutely got the pedigree to get the extra distance today.
Okay, to the right of the names, you see the numbers in yellow. That's the weights that the horses will carry. Almond Joy is a female racehorse taking on the boys, so she gets a weight break with 119 pounds, others carrying 124. And then there are 3-year-olds in this race. They get a 6-pound weight break. The Japanese horse shipping in, Finger, is a 3-year-old. He'll race under 118 pounds. For more on his story, Michelle Yu.
Easily the most recognizable Japanese horse in the world is Forever Young. He won the Breeders' Cup Classic, the Saudi Cup, and he's slated to make his U.S. return in the Jockey Club Gold Cup opening weekend of the new Belmont. But we always look for fresh up-and-coming faces, and looking to follow in his compatriot's footsteps is a 3-year-old colt by the name of Finger. He's already won 2/3 of the Japanese Dirt Triple Crown, but instead of going for the third leg, they opted to ship him here to Del Mar to run in the Pacific Classic, which is a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Now, in addition to taking on older horses, he'll also be shipping outside of his country. Traditionally, 3-year-olds have done very well in this particular race, winning several editions of it. And if you look at the record of Japanese horses shipping into Del Mar, well, the odds are certainly in his favor. By all counts, he's been training very well since being ensconced here at Del Mar a couple days ago. I've seen him training in the morning. He does look a little bit on the warm side, but that's not uncommon for the Japanese shippers to do so. He's been stretching his legs very well. Apparently, he's eating with gusto, and so they have no excuses for how he's coming into this race. Connections have also been very vocal in the fact that they are planning on sending this colt, who's coming out of a 1.25-mile victory last time out in his home base of Japan. So look for him to be in front at all points of call as they go 1.25 miles in the $1 million Pacific Classic.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you to the legendary Claiborne Farm for presenting today's races. Claiborne Farm doing the usual, unusually well. We are counting down to the Pacific Classic, which is race number 10 on this 11-race card, but along the way, you're going to see some outstanding races. In fact, in our immediate future is the Green Flash Handicap, which leads to the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. You could be playing all this action if you're a NYRA Bets account holder, and we want to make sure that you find out why NYRA Bets is the leader in advanced deposit wagering. We've got a free $50 bet for you. Use the promo code PAC50. That's the promo code PAC50 to sign up for NYRA Bets and get a $50 free bet on today's Pacific Classic. Visit NYRABets.com racesports.com/PAC for details. As mentioned, coming up, race number 5 on the card is the Green Flash, going 5 furlongs. And a familiar horse in here, Motorious, who's had a few tries at the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Last year was 5th, but has been agonizingly close back in 2024 over this turf course, 2nd beaten the neck. Our post parade after the scratch of the 1 Monster will begin with the 2 Mescalero.
Yeah, he's drawn down towards the inside with that scratch of the 1. He's got early speed, tried to wire the field last time.
Taking a look now at a horse that's getting a lot of play, Mana Rose, a really good California bred.
Very good California bred. Made over $600,000, won over 50% of his tries. He's won against Open Company.
And Canto has our longest shot in the field. Should he be?
I think so. Going to have to make up a lot of ground against a bunch of really fast horses.
Sumter pulled off a minor upset over our current favorite, Motorious, last time out.
Yeah, good setup for him. Hopefully a repeat of the same trip today at 4-1.
And here is Motorious.
That was very, very good. I enjoyed that very much. This horse won 4 times here, likes this 5 furlong distance.
Needed the race last time, too.
Simon, big scratch with the 1 Monster. He was going to set the pace. Does that mean the 7 Virate goes to the lead?
Yes, he does. If not on the lead, he could be sitting right there in the perfect spot.
Then there is No Nay Hudson coming in for trainer Wesley Ward. He can ship anywhere in the world and win.
He sure can. Just doesn't have a lot of early speed, and especially going 5 furlongs. I want a faster horse.
9 is fine. Sorrento Sky, he makes a big late run, but he's got a lot of seconds and thirds.
He does. That's his running style. But I think he's got a good shot in here. I think there's enough pace to close into. The 5 furlong suits his closing kick.
Scratch the 10 Saratoga Special. That is our field for the Green Flash. America's Day at Del Mar is brought to you by the California Thoroughbred Breeders Association. It pays to be Calbred. No better example than that with Mana Rose in here. Mana Rose, 12 wins from 20 lifetime starts, Simon, and just over $600,000 in earnings. So now the question is, what about him in Open Company and 5 furlongs on the turf?
Well, the Open Company I don't think is a problem. If you look 2 races back, he beat Listen Up Chance. But that was on the dirt. The turf is not a problem for him. He's 40% in that situation. The 5 furlongs could be a question mark for me. I think it might just be a little too short for him.
Taking a look at the 8, No Nay Hudson for trainer Wesley Ward. Juan Hernandez aboard. JK, we were talking about how Wesley Ward can win anywhere in the world. He did that. How about this? At York Racecourse, literally just about 24 hours ago at Nunthorpe, Juan Hernandez aboard. He had to get back here for this big Pacific Classic card. For our audience who may not know, Juan Hernandez is the perennial leading rider out here in California. So for him to get away before big day in California is a big deal. So look at this. He still has his silks on, gets to a helicopter, then gets to Heathrow to hop a jet to get here.
It's pretty impressive. You like to imagine that his miles and his account are just growing by the minute with all of this travel, but the life of a jockey getting across an entire ocean, across another continent, and now trying to get in the saddle to get in the winner's circle.
They'll go anywhere to ride a good horse. 2-hour drive down from Los Angeles down here to San Diego, and he came here earlier today, and he is aboard the 8, No Nay Hudson.
Well, it makes sense. Remember the song that Bing Crosby has, the unofficial anthem here. Take a plane, take a train, take a car. Juan Hernandez has done all of that. Taking a plane and then riding horses for us today, Maggie Wolfendale.
That's right, I rode my pony into Del Mar today, and a lot of people found a way to get here, Todd, as this place is packed. We have quite a party and a scene here on the apron as we are gearing up for our first race on this Fox Sports broadcast. It is the Grade 2 Green Flash. Well, your favorite, Motorious, he has looked good throughout proceedings. I'm interested in the horse to his inside. That's number 5, Sumter for Richard Mandella. He is a sexy horse, and he is coming in off of a nice win, albeit that was with Lasix, but he has won a great stakes here, sprinting on the turf at Santa Anita. Just looks as though he's thriving right now. Now, the venerable Calbred, who is 12 for 20 lifetime, I know 8 of those wins have come on the dirt, but his fastest race has come on the turf. He looks sensational, coming in off a bit of a break here for Jeff Mullins. I know he can be a temperamental horse in the morning. That's why Edmund Maldonado, he rides him in his morning workouts and in the afternoon. Looks as though this team is totally copacetic. They look very confident going to the post. As we'll check in with Wesley Ward's charge, that's number 8, None Hudson. He has tried to win this race 2 times in the past, 3rd and 4th, including last year. He comes in off of a break. He looks pretty fit. Wish he was a bit more tucked up here, Todd, but definitely complimented by the second place finisher, Yellow Card, coming back and running a 101 with his victory. For me, though, it's Sumter here.
And as the field moves into line for the green flash, Simon, there's a lot on the line leading to the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint.
It's a win-in-your-own race. Entry paid birth to the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint.
We got a horse breaking through the starting gate. That was a 3 Mana Rose, the California bred who we're talking about, with Edwin Maldonado. Now he takes off. Simon, the amount of force that it takes to break through the starting gate like that is of concern. So the health and well-being of our equine athletes and the men and women who ride them, always of paramount importance. There is an attending veterinarian there to take a look at horses who have incidents like this.
Yeah, what they'll do, they'll pick up this horse, the outrider, take him back to the starting gate. The veterinarian will give the once-over, the check-out over. The rest of the field hasn't been backed out at this point. They're still standing patiently in the starting gate, so we'll wait and see what happens here.
JK, as a horse player, I know many horse players, they see a horse break through the starting gate early. Even if they get reloaded, they will not play them. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, it's one of those deals. It's like an old adage, like, oh, they break through the gate, they're not going to run well. Look, if you love a horse, they break through the gate, they don't get too far, I wouldn't get too crazy.
I've seen it both ways.
Yeah.
I've seen horses win breaking through the gate and horses lose breaking through.
This was a significant race last year leading to the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. You remember the controversial finish with Reef Runner. He won the race but was disqualified. He eventually did make it to the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, but this has always been a gateway to this big opportunity at the Breeders' Cup.
It is, and obviously the configuration of the turf sprint changes from track to track. I think that has a big bearing as well.
Absolutely. They're going to run a flat 5 furlongs here. When the Breeders' Cup was here last year, it works out really well.
Yes.
Now, when you get to a situation where you go a little bit further, right, it can sometimes not be as productive as a prep, going from 5 to whether it be 6 or 6.5 or whatever it might be. But at least for the time being, Keeneland will be 5.5. I would imagine this will be a productive prep for that Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint.
Simon, as a former trainer, how does Mana Rose look to you after breaking through the starting gate early?
He looks good jogging back. Like I said, he didn't get too far down the track. There's Richard Mandela looks on.
We talked about that upset in 1996 when Cigar got beat. He trained the winner, Darren Go. He has another opportunity and the Pacific Classic later on in our card. But in here, he sends out Sumter, the 5, who is our second choice at 7-2. Since Mana Rose broke through the starting gate early, he was 3-1 in the loading process. He's drifted up to 4-1. So it speaks to what we talked about, how many horse players won't play a horse who broke through the starting gate early, but now they're bringing this horse back through to be looked at by the attending veterinarian.
Yeah, they'll take a quick once over. They've backed out the rest of the field here, so we'll just have to wait and see if there's a late announcement.
And this would take a major contender out of the race at the time of the incident, was the second choice in the live wagering. And if they were to scratch Mana Rose, then they'd have to adjust the numbers that you see at the top of the starting stalls here. But again, no determination yet what's going to happen with Mana Rose here. The rest of the field waiting along with us to see what ultimately is determined here. You can see Edwin Maldonado has stayed aboard. He's in those purple silks there. And he would have jumped off, I would think, by now if they were going to have a late scratch.
Absolutely. He would have jumped right off and probably gotten a ride back to the jockstrom. But it looks like they're getting ready to reload here, and all is well.
So it turns out, at least for the time being, a minor incident with Mana Rose. But one thing we can see, Simon, is Mana Rose is really fired up behind the starting gate.
Yeah, ready to go. And that's what you get with these sprinters. They are pent up, ready to go, ready to break out of the blocks.
JK, who wins the Green Flash?
You know, it's hard for me to argue with a horse like Notorious. Just loves this distance, loves this racetrack.
Simon, who you got?
I got Sorrento Sky. Don't look for him early, but look for him late.
We got you covered on both coasts. We'll get back to Saratoga, but right now it's Del Mar, the Green Flash, winning your end of the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Let's go up to the voice of Del Mar, Larry Colmus, with the call.
All in line. They're off in the Green Flash presented by Longines, and Virat comes out running on the lead. It is Virat to the front. Well, Mescalero is being sent through on the inside to challenge. These two ahead of None Hudson and Mano Rose. Then Sumter on the outside of Encanto. Motorius takes his spot near the back of the pack, leading only Sorrento Sky up the backstretch as Virat leads the way on top by a length. Mescalero just off this pacemaker, running in second for the far turn. None Hudson is third. Then Sumter to the outside of Encanto. Mano Rose drops back. Motorius is being ridden to go now. He's got 7 lengths to gain, while Sorrento Sky makes a blitz to the inside of him. They're coming to the top of the stretch. Virat off the turn with a 3-length lead on None Hudson. Sorrento Sky has moved up on the outside. Motorius with a lot of work to do. Then Mescalero and Encanto on the inside. Closing fast is Sorrento Sky. Here comes Sorrento Sky to win the green flash. None Hudson was second, and then Virat and Motorius.
Sorrento Sky, don't look for him early, look for him late. Umberto Rispoli, one of the best turf riders out here in California. He especially shows up at Del Mar. By the way, Simon, nice selection.
Thanks. Yeah, and he's a horse to me that I think just likes the 5 furlongs. I know he's second and third a lot, but on this circuit in California, we have multiple distances at the turf sprint. We have 5 down here, up north at Santa Anita, 6, 6.5. And when you get a horse that specializes in 5 furlongs, it can really play to a horse with a deep closing kick like this. I know Virat got loose on the lead, Jonathan, but they came running late.
It was a great ride by Umberto, right? He saved ground. It was only like in the 2 path. Most of the time you have a closer who circles the field like that, they go all the way around, they lose a bunch of ground. Umberto stayed inside and geometry came into play, and when they straightened out to come home, he had a lot more left in the tank.
And Simon, when we talk about the Breeders' Cup Challenge Series, the winning you're in was made for a horse like Sorrento Sky. We're getting late in the year leading the Breeders' Cup. He didn't have a significant win so far this year. Now he's in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint with our winning trainer, Michelle Yu.
Thanks, guys. Joined with Phil D'Amato right now. Sorrento Sky in a last to first effort. That was pretty tremendous, Phil.
Yeah, you know, I kind of thought we were in trouble that first quarter because I just didn't see a lot of speed in here after the scratches and the 3 popping out of the gate. But Umberto believed in this horse, and this is the way he always, you know, envisioned him running, and it worked out. Great ride.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Guys?
9-8-7-6 posted on the board. 7-1 over 6-1 over 11-1 over 8-5. Sorrento Sky, by virtue of this win in the Green Flash, is now in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. We'll come back with more on Pacific Classic Day here at Del Mar, but we return to our on-site coverage in Saratoga Springs, New York, anchoring Greg Wolf.
Todd, Simon, JK, thank you 3 very much. Looking forward to that Pacific Classic still to come later tonight. We have the nightcap still ahead. We're 2 minutes to post race 12. Mile and 3/16 Skies to close it out on the lawn here coming up in a maiden special weight, Andy.
Yeah, I'm interested in the number 8, Osmosis. Osmosis has not run in actually about 8 months since running at Gulfstream Park, and I thought ran extremely well in that race after running a credible race in her debut at Aqueduct. More importantly, that's a race that has come up a very strong one. The winner's a decent horse. The 3rd place finisher's a multiple stakes winner who's run some very fast races. You go through that race, it's a loaded field. I do worry a little about the layoff. It's definitely not a positive. Having said that, I believe if she can build on that race, she's going to be too tough for some decent horses in here. But horses like Mary Lois and the one Stand the Rain, to me, they're just kind of running out of chances, Tom.
Yeah, but, you know, you bring up Stand the Rain, and I think he's an interesting horse from the one post position. He hasn't had a lot of luck with a good pace setup in that case. So, to me, you know, maybe we get that today. Although, looking over this race, there doesn't look to be a lot of early speed.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something else, Tom. I needed her to win or be second last time. The winner came from dead last. It was a first-time starter. She had the pace to run at. She made the move and didn't finish. I agree. She can win this race. Don't get me wrong. I picked her second. I think she's a player. I just feel like she's had her share of chances. But I agree at 4-1. She's very usable.
Here's the favorite, modest favorite here to close things out. Tyler Gaffalione gets the call for Todd Pletcher here, her 3-year-old return. And filly who was behind her last time out, Lion Lake, has gone on to be pretty good.
Exactly, and that was my point, but I think there's also other horses in the race that have done well. To me, that was a very good field, and I just feel like she's kind of the one that has had the least chances in this race, has the most room to improve, and slight improvement makes her tough to beat in here.
Yeah, and that finish in that race, she was between horses. She got a lot of education out of that as well.
I agree.
So
Never clear.
Now Now you come back, this year she's allowed to use the medication Lasix for this race, and that could be a help as well.
How do you feel about Mary Lois, the 6 here for Chad Brown, sort of searching to find the right distance for her?
Well, that's a good point, considering he's run her at multiple distances in all of her races. I think he's just trying to get her to win. To me, this is a Chad Brown horse that lost at 1-2, finished 4th at 1-2, lost her last race at 4-1. She has some talent. She's okay, but when trainers like Chad Brown have as many chances as they've had with this horse, and they keep failing to get it done, to me, that's a black mark. Chad Brown wins.
Andy, you mentioned when she was less than even money, a heavy favorite. That was not only a race like this, it was at the exact same distance of a mile and 3/16. He's definitely searching.
And she was easily beaten by the 1 in that race. Why is she supposed to turn the tables today? And you almost wonder, looking at her, if it wasn't Chad, it wasn't Flavien Prat, she might be a bigger price. Why is she a shorter price than the 1 who beat her fair and square in that race?
Saw that sun setting over the grandstand. We thought the sun was setting on this 3-year-old filly division title. Not the case. It is now back to being wide open.
It is indeed back to being wide open. Counting Stars, it wasn't her day. She didn't run her race. You could tell midway through the turn for home at the 3/8 pole with 3/8 of a mile to go that she was not going to put forth her best effort.
I agree. I think the winner, and you're not saying she isn't, is a real player now in the division, obviously, and if she can go on and win another Grade 1. But having even liked the winner, I agree. I don't think Counting Stars, that was not the same Counting Stars we saw in the Coaching Club American Oaks. And I don't know that it was the distance, because she wasn't that horse from at the top of the stretch, Tom.
No, agreed. She was done midway through the turn, and Jose Ortiz tried to use all of his skills to keep her going, including trying to herd the eventual winner on the turn and out to the top of the stretch, but nothing was good enough to get her home.
We'll take a look back in a moment. Right now, mile and 3/16 to close out this Alabama Saturday card. There is Osmosis, the 5-2 favorite. Let's go to Frank Miramati for the call.
Osmosis goes in. And they're off in the finale. And Home Wrecker is the first one out of the gate. Prime Connection has plenty of early speed too, and just behind them, Fango Creek is in 3rd. Then Secretly Delighted, Mary Lois is next, right next to Osmosis. Here's Ria Al Nil making an aggressive move at a huge number, and the trailer is Stand the Rain. By the stands, and Ria Al Nil putting some pressure on the front runners as they round the clubhouse turn, intent on getting to the front, but Home Wrecker and Kendrick Carmouche keep that spot for now. Ria Al Nil is 2nd, followed by Fango Creek in 3rd, and Prime Connection is down at the rail in 4th. Secretly Delighted is getting a good trip in 5th, 5 lengths off the lead, a length back to Mary Lois. Osmosis is 2nd to last, and the gray Stand the Rain continues at the back. The half went in 48-1 after an opening quarter in 23 4/5 seconds, and it is Ria Al Nil leading the way by half a length. Home Wrecker along the rail is still right with her, and Home Wrecker reclaims command into the far turn. Ria Al Nil had her fun. Then comes Prime Connection and Fango Creek. On the inside, Prime Connection's had a good journey, is up to take 2nd as they round the far turn. Here's Mary Lois making some serious headway while saving every inch of ground. Mary Lois is up to 4th, and Secretly Delighted outside of her. The gray has surfaced. She's Stand the Rain as they pass the quarter pole and turn for home. Here's Prime Connection on the outside of Home Wrecker. Prime Connection puts the head in front. Home Wrecker in 2nd. Mary Lois's bid somewhat flattened out. And then comes Stand the Rain, 16th pole. And it's Prime Connection and Jose Lezcano clear by 3.5. And Prime Connection will prove to be much the best. Prime Connection, a convincing score. Stand the Rain was 2nd. Mary Lois finished 3rd, and then 4th was between Home Wrecker and Osmosis.
Prime Connection, Linda Rice, Jose Lezcano, and an upset to close out our Saturday action here at Saratoga.
Made a decisive move at the top of the stretch and cleared the field. Much the best.
She was much the best. My horse, Osmosis, she diffused herself throughout the field and did absolutely no running whatsoever.
Yeah, a little bit disappointing from the favorite in here. So I believe 14-1 to close things out. Yes, 14-1 with Prime Connection. Let's go back to the big one, Alabama, and not to be. No coronation this afternoon for Counting Stars.
No, watch My Guns Loaded, the 4-horse, and Counting Stars. The heavy favorite as she tries to pack her out, or as the term we use in horse racing, herd her out to kind of break her momentum, but it's not enough as she just kicks home and is much the best here.
No question. She ran terrific in this race, and she's such a great name, right? Her gun was absolutely loaded in this race. An excellent performance by the runner-up as well. And while the winner is a very good horse and has a huge future, she's undefeated since moving to Chad Brown's barn. Don't count Counting Stars out. She's a better horse than that. It's not the distance that got her beat. She was on top of the stretch.
Yeah, as you said, she was not herself today, but also probably never going to go this distance again either.
Nope.
No, none of them will, as a matter of fact. I mean, this is a unique distance. The Alabama going 1.25 miles, presented by Keeneland Sales. And there you're looking at your winner. Yeah. My Guns Loaded.
Oh, late did. Delaware Handicap. She actually went to the Breeders' Cup Classic. By the way, we had a daughter of Olate win earlier on the card today. Former Alabama
Yes, we
winner.
did. A promising horse for Bill Mott. Won about the 8th race, I think, 8th or 9th race. It's hard to keep track. There's so many of them.
So, do you believe with that performance, we'll see, My Guns Loaded, but a major player now in this division? I mean, you win this race, you automatically are.
Listen, Counting Stars is still the leader of the division. I think we agree. But I think now always a runner who Chad Brown is pointing towards the cotillion. She gets a grade 1 win there. Suddenly it's 2 grade 1s. I don't know where this horse is going. And, you know, things can change. I still think Counting Stars is the leader of the division. I don't think you can take it away just based on this one race.
That's it for this trio. Enjoyed it. We're going to send it back to Del Mar. Pacific Classic still to come later tonight.
Greg, we want to look back at our most recent race, a winning year in for the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, the Green Flash. Let's drone on a little bit about this race because we want to take you high overhead to give you perspective of just how far back Sorrento Sky was. You suspected this horse to be back early, Simon, but did you expect this horse would be that far back?
Yeah, I think so. In a race where some of the pace scratched out of it, I think I did. And Jonathan, to me, to the untrained eye, a lot of people think, you know, when horses close like this, going a short distance, the further they go, the more effective they will be. To me, that's not the case. I think the shorter distances help the closing kick, the speed comes back, and that's one of the reasons why I like this horse. He's run well here at 5/8.
You talk about Breeders' Cup horses. Elite Power taught me that lesson. I think there was an idea that he was going to be better going 7 furlongs, but he was significantly better going 6. I think the same thing can be said about Sorrento Sky, a horse that appreciates going a little bit shorter with more pace to close into.
Sorrento Sky has a spot in the starting gate for the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, owned by CYBT, Gervitz or Nentwig and others, trained by Phil D'Amato, Umberto Rispoli aboard, a dark bear brown gelding by Prince of Lear out of the Battle of Marengo Mare. Briarfield Lady was bred by Miss Colleen Dwyer in the Emerald Isle of Ireland. Looking ahead to race number 6, a 5.5 furlong maiden special weight event for 2-year-old fillies early on. Our favorite at 8-5 is the first time starter, the 9, Sees No Joke. Well, California is known for having a pretty sophisticated car culture, but we also have a pretty sophisticated golf cart culture. And for that, we turn to JK with this edition of Cart Talk.
Doug, I got to tell you, it's hard to argue with this out here.
Not a bad workplace, right? It's heaven, baby.
How does a guy from Michigan end up with this as his backyard?
Got extremely lucky. Yeah, between my dad and my uncles who loved horse racing in Michigan, when we moved to California at age 10, the very first place my dad took us was Santa Anita, and fell in love with it right away.
A saying that I've heard you use a lot with your team is "Why not us?"
Yeah.
What does that phrase mean to you? Why not us?
As I got lucky and started getting some good horses and realized, whoa, you know, it's really all about the horse, so why not us? So I don't know, we just kind of started saying, hey, you know, these bigger barns are winning a lot of races, but why can't we? And started that early on and kind of kept it going.
One of the horses that I would assume fits in that category would be I'll Have Another. Did you think you were going to win that day?
You know, Derby Day I did. We were so confident after what he had done in the Bob Lewis and the Santa Anita Derby and the way he was just clipping around the track there at Churchill.
I'll Have Another has won the Kentucky Derby!
I'll Have Another come out of the Derby great. He was training great. We took him right away to Baltimore and he was clipping around Pimlico.
Can I have another get there? Here he
Yeah, he was just very, very honest and just a cool horse.
The white and purple silks weren't done there. What, he needed another Derby. There goes old Nyquist.
Unbelievable. I mean, he was one of those you knew from the time he came walking off that van into the barn. He just looked like a star, son of Uncle Mo, and he didn't disappoint us, that's for sure.
Well, the first horse that, I remember Doug O'Neill from is Lava Man. What was the trick with old Lava Man?
Lava Man was plagued with some not the greatest feet in the world, and the old cliche, no foot, no horse, right? You got to have good, healthy feet, and he was just one of those blue collar, lunch pail, hard hat type of horses that just, if he got in a fight, he was going to beat you to the wire. So just, you wish you had a barn full of them. I ran him for 100 claim in a claiming race, and he won with the late, great Garrett Gomez, and I remember busting the one owner's chop saying that we lost him after the race, and he was like, no, and I'm like, I'm just kidding, just kidding.
How many times did you try to duplicate that since?
Oh my God, I know. He's the one we claimed for 50, made over 5 million, and I probably have spent over 5 million on claims that barely made 50 grand, so.
And you get to still hang out with him, right?
Yeah, well now he's at Old Friends in Kentucky. He's just all covered in mud, running around happy, and the retired life's been really good for him.
I remember being at the Galt House, I'll have another's year, and I went over and told you good luck, and then afterwards, I thought to myself, I just told him good luck, but I'm betting against him.
Jerry Hollendorfer had the greatest line. He'd always say, hey, if I don't win, I hope you don't either. I'm like, oh, thank you, Jerry. I appreciate that.
Cart Talk is presented by Gainesway. Power, passion, performance. Doug O'Neill is one of the most approachable trainers on any circuit. It's because he started out as a fan. He used to climb the fence and sneak into tracks like Santa Anita and Hollywood Park, and now he's one of the best trainers out here.
Unbelievable. When I started training out here, he had 13 horses. His filly that got him going, Classy Cara, won the Apple Blossom.
He's got 2 horses in the upcoming 6th. Watching the field since they arrived in the paddock, Maggie Wolfendale.
And we'll start with one of Doug's horses in here, Todd. That's number 7, Confetti Rain. As looking at her, and she is a daughter of Gervin, who has excellent first-time out 2-year-old numbers, hitting at 19%. She looks quick, and that's the impression I got in watching her breeze, where she was teamed up with Miss Midterm in there, but she was so far the best. She pulled away from that mate with such ease towards the tail end of that breeze, indicating she's ready, but I also feel like she's meant for this 5.5 furlongs. As we'll take a look at the horse taking all the money, though. That's number 9, Sees No Joke. Look, Bob's other horse is taking some money, but I much prefer Sees No Joke. Daughter of Practical Joke. They paid $310,000 for her after working 10 flat, where she was not asked much at all for that. She really has a lovely way of going. She is so athletic and effortless in that stride, and that is reflected here in the paddock with the athleticism on full display. She's very classy acting too. Yes, she'll probably want to go further at this, and we'll see her excel at longer distances, but I get the feeling that she might just be good enough to win here at first asking. Todd?
She got the money right. Thank you, Maggie. With the field coming out on the track for race number 6. As far as where the money is showing up, the 6, Furiosity, the first-time starter for trainer Bob Baffert. No surprise there. Baffert wins a majority of 2-year-old races here during the summer.
Well, last year he won every single maiden special weight race for 2-year-olds here. It's unbelievable. Every single maiden special weight for 2-year-olds he won here last year. And Furiosity's been working in the morning with a horse called Miss Monica. What did she do? She came back last week, crushed by 6 here. Very impressive.
All right, about to make a turn for the post parade here in race number 6. First horse we're going to get a look at happens to be the longest shot in the field at 35-1. That is the one, Chaser, who actually has a lot of experience coming in 2 starts.
2 starts, that goes a long way. 1 on the dirt, 1 on the turf. She's 35-1. I think the odds pretty much explains her chances.
Homebred for Ruiz Racing, it's Grammy's gal, the daughter of Bolt Doro, making her debut.
Absolutely, you see a homebred for Ruiz Racing, you're going to see a Bolt Doro. Workout report wasn't too encouraging with this one.
And not encouraging is Grammy's gal refusing to move here and kind of get in the way of the post parade. So we'll jump to the 3 Miss Midterm, one of 2 horses in here for trainer Doug O'Neill.
A good win, Elisaya. Early voting's winning at 26%, but out of a mare that was all turf. Maybe watch one today.
Dear Diary, I got to work with Jonathan Kinchin and Simon Bray at the Pacific Classic this year. Here's Dear Diary, the first-time starter.
Yeah, an Into Mischief Spendthrift homebred. You get Mike Smith, you get Richard Mandela, and you get a nice little work tab.
How about this for a connection? Coming in from Saratoga, it's the 5 Girls Wear Pearls.
Jenna Antonucci, she's run 2 horses here. One last week and a second place finish a couple of weeks ago. She switches to the dirt today.
Our favorite, a daughter of Into Mischief, making her debut, Furiosity.
Yeah, like Simon mentioned, you like to see horses that work with good horses in the morning. Furiosity is one of those.
The other Doug O'Neill in here is the 7 Confetti Rain, the lower of the 2 horses, but at 14 to 1.
Big price by Gervin. Good win early sire as well, 17%. Emisao Jaramillo in the irons.
In the early days of Del Mar, Lucille Ball was a presence here almost each and every day with Desi Arnaz. So here's Lucille B, a first-time starter by Practical Joke.
One of my favorite parts about Saratoga and Del Mar is the buzzy 2-year-olds. This is the one that I kept hearing about when I was walking around today.
9 to 5 on Seas No Joke, a first-time starter for Practical Joke, trained by Bob Baffert, but owned by My Racehorse. Now, they had Baccio, the horse that Juan Hernandez won, and the Nunthorpe, but how do we look at the tote board with a horse like this?
It's hard to tell. Baffert's a 9 to 5 and 9 to 5. They don't know who to make the favorite.
We talk about a lot of organizations around the country that support their state's racing program. Michelle Yu is with a person who's instrumental when it comes to California racing.
Joined right now by the chairman of the TOC and also co-owner and managing partner of Little Red Feather Racing, Gary Fenton, and his son, Carter. Welcome out to the races on Pacific Classic Day, guys.
Well, welcome to you and the entire Fox audience. It's great that you guys are here. Special thanks to David O'Rourke and Tony Olivato for making all this happening. It's going to be an exciting 2027, isn't it? Del Mar and Saratoga together. So we're happy that you guys are here.
And we've had really great representation in the TOC. Obviously, a lot of owners thrilled about this new partnership.
Oh, absolutely. It was something that when we first heard about it, we couldn't have been more excited. I mean, Saratoga and Del Mar, it's something everybody will be watching next summer.
All right, speaking of watching, let's watch your filly. Right here, you got a debuter, Lucille B. What do you think?
Well, named after the famous comedian Lucille Ball, who lived in Beverly Hills, where Billy and I grew up. We're big-time fans of hers, and I Love Lucy, and I think it's a fitting name for this horse. She seems very talented in the mornings, and we'll keep our fingers crossed here.
15 to 1 might have a nice price here if we're able to come home on debut.
What do you think about that, Carter?
Good.
Good? Your thumbs up? Do you have a favorite I Love Lucy episode?
No, I don't know.
The grape stomping, maybe?
I Love Lucy, I think it was a little bit before his time.
Mine too, but I still love it. Lucille B. debuting for Little Red Feather Racing coming up next, guys.
The tradition being passed down and the Fenton family. We have a lot of idiosyncrasies as horse players, JK. One of mine is when I leave my home base, long shots always win. So you leave your home base of Saratoga, and here's a 14 to 1 you liked a little bit.
Absolutely, and you get Jose Lezcano, who's had a rough start to the meet, but this week he's kind of turned it around a little bit. He started getting in the winner's circle, so good for him. Good for Prime Connection, $30.26, and good for whoever had that pick 6 as well, paying $31,000.
Alabama had an upset, and then it leads to an upset in the final, and that huge pick 6 payoff. Huge day here at Del Mar. We're going to be back with more of America's Day at Del Mar and the sights and sounds from Pacific Classic Day here on Fox Sports 2. It's America's Day at Del Mar on Fox Sports 2. Welcome to our on-site coverage. I'm Todd Truck, very pleased to be with Simon Bray and Jonathan Kenshin. Field approaching the starting gate for race number 6. Simon, where are you going?
I'm going with Bob Baffert. I'm going with the 6 Furiosity, who worked with Miss Monica, as I mentioned. She won nicely here the other day, but it's evenly matched, JK. They're both getting play. In fact, the horse you like, the other Baffert, is 2-1.
Yeah, I like young horses drawn outside. I feel like it gives a lot of more options. She's No Joke worked with San Moritz, who's a $600,000 not this time in Bob's Barn.
Maggie, you've been watching them since the paddock and now throughout the warm-up. Who looks best?
Well, that would be Sees No Joke, Todd. But I do want to talk about Dear Diary, daughter of Into Mischief, full sister to Almost Gone Rocket, who won her first 3 starts of her career. And while this filly actually looks as though she might prefer a little bit longer, has that same disposition, she wears that nasal strip high on her nose because they need to get that airway open. She has kind of a collapsed nasal passage. So if you notice that, that's why it's there. Maybe we'll take the wait and see approach with her, but I do think there's some ability there. Todd?
And the field moving forward here for race number 6 at Del Mar. You've heard our opinion. Most important opinion is yours, and hopefully you're playing it right now through your Naira Bets account. Checking the odds one more time. Furiosity, the daughter of Into Mischief, making her debut for trainer Bob Baffert, is 2-1. The other Bob Baffert trainee in the My Racehorse Silks you see in the background, that is the 9 Sees No Joke, also at 2-1, but our second choice. With a few more horses to load, let's go up to the voice of the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club, Larry Colmus.
They're all in line. They're off. Girls Wear Pearls had the best start. Curiosity is away running in second, and these two will go out to the front together. And then it's the Beaches back away running in third to the outside. Down toward the rail, Chase Her is next, and then Sees No Joke in between horses, with Miss Midterm right in that group as well. Break of 3 back to Confetti Rain, and it's 3 lengths more back to Grammy's Gal, Dear Diary, and Lucille B. They make their way into the turn. Girls Wear Pearls and Furiosity, and the two of them are head-to-head on the lead. They've got 3 lengths on the Beaches back. Then comes Sees No Joke running along in fourth. Confetti Rain circles up on the outside of Miss Midterm and Chase Her as they make their way to the top of the stretch. It is Girls Wear Pearls off the turn, shaking clear here. Girls Wear Pearls and Umberto Rispoli have a 4-length lead as they arrive into the final furlong. The Beaches back is clearly in second now, and then Confetti Rain and Dear Diary to the inside. Past the 16th pole, Girls Wear Pearls has the lead. Late move from Dear Diary. Girls Wear Pearls wins it. Dear Diary was second. The Beaches back was third, and then came Confetti Rain.
I thought Saratoga Live ended an hour ago. Jenna Antonucci coming in from Saratoga gets the win here. Girls Wear Pearls, the 2 starts up at the Spa, JK, on the turf. She shows up here, goes to the dirt.
Yeah, when I woke up this morning, I didn't see this turf horse, or what I thought was a turf horse, getting into a duel with a Bob Baffert runner, turning that one away and holding off the competition.
But yet it happened.
It did. That just happened. And if you're not familiar with Jenna Antonucci, she won the Belmont Stakes a couple of years ago. She's only brought 3 horses out here, 2 wins and a second at this meet, and this horse scores at 12-1.
The famous line that she had afterwards, if you don't have a seat at the table, make your own table. And how about this, 12-1, that starts the pick 6. It's all long shots here, really. 5-4, 11-7, 12-1 over 10-1 over 6-1 over 10-1. And when you look at the final time, JK, 5.5 furlongs, 105-2, you know, it probably suggests this maybe wasn't the group that we thought it was.
Yeah, well, I mean, I always want to kind of defer to a speed figure, right? The racetracks can change. Sometimes you have a slow track on a day where you know, it looks a little bit better than it might be. But yeah, the time doesn't make you think you need to cut in line to bet this horse in some sort of Breeders' Cup future. But we'll wait and see.
Yeah, the runner-up ran well, the 4, the first time starter for Richard Mandella. That 2-year-old, Todd, have been working with Subsanador, who's in the Pacific Classic a little later on. I think anytime a big trainer works a 2-year-old with an older horse, it's a sign they got a good one.
Jenna Antonucci, welcome back to California. We'd like to see you more. Coming in from Saratoga with Girls Wear Pearls gets the win. When you come into California, especially to Del Mar, you need to make plans at the Brigantine, affectionately known as the Brig. You got to try the fish taco. It's only in the bar area like those guys are at there that wraps around and looks back at the track. Don't go to the dining room and say, I want a fish taco. They won't give it to you. I'm going to head there now because Christina Blacker is going to take my place when we return. More America's Day at Del Mar after this. Welcome back to America's Day at Del Mar. And not just any day at Del Mar, it's Pacific Classic Day here on Fox Sports 2. I'm Todd Trupp, along with Simon Bray and Jonathan Kinchin. Maggie Wolfendale here, Michelle Yu. Christina Blacker will be joining us in just a moment. But how about Jenna Antonucci joins us? This Winner's Circle lead-in is presented by the Fasig-Tipton California Fall Yearling Sale. That'll take place Wednesday, September 30th in Pomona. That's just north of here in California. Where will you be? And this year, you want to be at the sale because they have a $500,000 bonus. You're hearing this right. And it's for the first Grade 1 winner from the sale. A 2-year-old or 3-year-old season. Again, if you win a Grade 1 and your 2-year-old or 3-year-old seasoned, that Grade 1 win is worth $500,000 in a bonus that will be divided between owners at the time of sale and the current owners. Okay, back to the prices here in race number 6. It is Girls Wear Pearls pulling off the upset at 13-1.
Jenna Antonucci, like we said, she's an East Coast-based trainer. She takes advantage of the Ship and Win program. You come out here to Del Mar, if you come from a track on the Eastern Seaboard, you're going to get a bonus. And all 2 wins, now 3 wins for her in a second, she gets added purse money.
Had a chance to talk to members of the racing office. They said it's been one of their best years for the Ship and Win program. With our winning rider, Maggie Wolfendale.
Here with Umberto Rispoli, his second win on our program today. And Umberto, Girls Wear Pearls, she was very impressive. I like how you took charge from the start.
Look, I spoke with Gina this morning, and she said, listen, she got a good gate speed. Try to don't get any kickback in the face. She worked well in the morning, but we don't know how she might going to react with the kickback. Look, she take a good break. She was happy where I was, and she opened up and turned in for home, and I feel it then I could get until the wire.
Very nicely done. A little bit later, we'll see you aboard Malarchuck in the Pacific Classic. Long shot, but riding for Michael McCarthy, who you've had a lot of success for. Obviously, journalism coming to mind.
Well, absolutely. You know, the horse is doing really, really well. It's a very nice, whole, solid horse. He's taking every step from his works. It's a really tough race. But look, those dirt races, you know, we saw some dramas in the past. So let's hope for another drama.
Get that drama, baby. Congratulations.
Thanks,
here.
Maggie. Thank you.
Guys.
Obviously, Alberto recently had hoped he would be riding journalism in the Pacific Classic. Journalism retired in that time between his San Diego win and then today, the Pacific Classic. Looking ahead to race number 7, we'll be going a mile on the firm Jimmy Durante turf course. 3-year-olds and upward in here. The optional claiming price is $100,000. And don't forget about our Naira Bets $50 free bet. Get all those details at nairabets.com. As far as this race, Simon, what about the nuances of this turf course going a mile for those who might not be familiar with it?
Short run into the first turn. Outside post, you're a huge disadvantage. You've got to cross and clear or just drop back and make one run. And an angle I always like here, Jonathan, his horses come in at sprint races, pedigree to go long, stretching out. That applies to my selection. That's Arrakis the 4 at 13-1.
Yeah, I actually have an angle here too. I like horses that have tactical speed drawn inside.
Yep.
The 2 Charlies to blame should be able to hold that position on the inside, play the game of geometry, not losing ground while the horses that are on the outside likely are.
Okay, now it's time for my Brig Taco. Can I borrow the golf cart?
Yeah, it's right out.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm going to zip up to the top of the hill, have a Brig Taco. But in the meantime, we're looking back at one of the dominant performances in the Pacific Classic. 2015 beholder for trainer Dick Mandela, but he's had a number of wins over the years. That certainly was one of his favorites. When we come back, Christina Blacker joins our coverage for America's Day at Del Mar.
Well, opening day at Del Mar is all about the hats, the outfits, the fashion, and having fun. But Pacific Classic Day is a little bit different. It's more for the horse player. You get the locals coming out, you get the longtime racing fans, and if you're out here at Del Mar, one of the best places you can be is on the Pacifico patio. First of all, you get a view of the Pacific Ocean over to the west, but most importantly, you get to see the horses. Everyone crowds around the rail to get their up-close view of these equine athletes, and the elevated view from the patio is a fantastic spot to get to see all of the action, look at all the horses up close, and of course, do a whole lot of people watching. One of my favorite spots in Del Mar.
Cigar takes the lead. Dare and Go's got dead aim on him. Cigar's got to dig deep. He's had to run very fast early and he can't find. And Dare and Go has gone right on by Cigar. A 16th of a mile to go. And you can never underestimate a classy horse. And this is one classy guy on his day. Dare and Go and Alex Solis win the Pacific Classic.
One of the most dramatic upsets in Pacific Classic history at the time. Cigar on a 16-race win streak. He was the richest racehorse in the world, but that win streak ended with Richard Mandella's Dare and Go 39-1 as Alex Solis celebrates across the wire here at Del Mar. And it was that man right there at the helm. The Hall of Famer Richard Mandella, 4 wins in this race, 8 second-place finishes. Simon, you had a front row seat to the journey with Cigar. What do you remember about that day?
I remember, unfortunately, Cigar was tag teamed with Siphon early on, and it just set up for Dare and Go. I mean, that's what happens when you're the target. You get taken down. He's got Subsanador this year. Doesn't come in with quite the same credentials, Christina, but has been working well.
Yeah, not quite the same credentials. Welcome back to the set. Christina Blacker, very happy to be in the host chair with you here. Simon Bray, JK, continue on. Jonathan, with the Hall of Famer Richard Mandella, even though Subsanador's form might not be up to par as of late, can you count him out today?
No, I mean, I think you can't, because when you have a Hall of Fame trainer, they kind of know what a good horse looks like, and while they might not have shown it to us on paper on a consistent basis, there's still something there that makes Richard Mandella feel like this makes sense for Subsanador.
Let's take a look at the field and the current odds as they stand. Knightsbridge to the outside, 5-2. Subsanador for Richard Mandella, who you just saw there. The Hall of Famer Mike Smith will be in the saddle. He is 12-1. Let's take a closer look at some of the other runners in this group. Forged Steel, Malarchuk, they both come out of the same race. This is a couple starts back on their form. And JK, pace made the race on this occasion. Forged Steel able to get to a comfortable lead.
Absolutely, got comfortable on the front end. The biggest problem I see here today is there's a lot of horses that have this exact running style, and that could be problematic. He got comfortable in here. I can't see him getting comfortable today in the Pacific Classic.
Forged Steel, Malarchuk, they've talked about the Japanese runner wants to be on or close to the lead. Christina, I know he's not a quick gate horse, but the trainer said earlier this week, we want to gun and go. It looks to be 3-4 horses up on the front end, and I think that's a problem for the horse you're looking at there, Forged Steel.
In addition to it maybe being a problem for Forged Steel, what does that mean for Knightsbridge, and what have we seen from him in the past when a fast horse is able to look him in the eyes early in a race?
Well, look, he's been a one-turn horse for most of his career up until last out, but I think he has the ability to race. He's going to be in a stalking position from post 11 on the outside. They get a long run down the front stretch into the first turn. Don't want to be hung wide into that first turn. I don't see him 10 back, but I don't see him chewing it up on the lead either.
He's tactical enough.
Yeah.
I think that he'll sit back. With all that other speed in here, it'd be kind of silly for them to be too aggressive.
Race number 7 is coming up next. We are drawing ever closer to this year's edition of the Pacific Classic. Quick look at the odds as they stand for a very competitive event on the turf course. Let's head into the paddock with Maggie Wolfendale.
Thanks, Christina. And as horses are making their way to the track, we'll check in with some stretch outs, including the horse that I believe Simon likes in here, and that's number 4, Arrakis, as he is the horse who immediately caught my eye upon entering the paddock today. He is completely dappled. He looks utterly resplendent here, and he has the right disposition for a horse trying a longer distance for the first time. You want these horses to be a little bit more laid back. You don't want to see a horse stretching out from those sprints be all pent up with very aggressive energy. He's chill as can be, and he really looks the part in here for Phil D'Amato. And I also, in that 5/8 race back on July 24th, I thought he did not have the right run of the race. He was 3 to 4 wide the entire way around there, where the 1-2 finishers saved all the ground. As we'll move on to number 8, Lonesome Stew here for Mark Glatt, another horse that comes out of that same race, going the 5 furlongs, that was wide. And Lonesome Stew, while he has tried longer distances, that was on the dirt. He ran okay, though, and it shows that he is a horse that does like the turf, and boy, does he look like he wants this mile distance, as he is big, lumbering, really long, massive horse with a lot of substance to him. I think both of these horses will appreciate the stretch out in distance as we check in with Michelle Yu.
Thanks so much, Maggie. Joined by Hall of Famer Richard Mandella with me now. And, you know, you've won the Pacific Classic a couple of times. We were watching Darren go just a few minutes ago. What are your memories from that day?
Just how great he ran. You know, when they went to the middle of the turn, you could just see him drop down, and he looked like a sports car taking off.
And, of course, Beholder, it's been a decade. I can't believe it's been that long. But she was probably one of my favorite Pacific Classic wins. What do you think, looking back and knowing how important she was to everybody watching her?
Well, I don't know about everybody else, but she was important to me.
Does she rank up there with your favorite horses?
Yes, very close to the top.
You also
Might
have
be the top.
Might be the top. You also have some Sanador coming in. You've given this horse some old school workouts, including one between the races. Why did you opt to do that? We don't see it very often anymore.
It's just a flashback I had in my head. At 75, I have these flashbacks, and sometimes I don't even know what they mean.
So something just told you we should work in between the races? I loved it. Well, best of luck, and maybe you'll be able to add another Pacific Classic to your resume.
I hope so.
Guys?
That Beholder Pacific Classic is one for the ages. I tell the story often. I was able to be here as a fan that day, and I was sitting behind Richard Mandella, and as she made that move around the turn, the entire crowd erupted. They all get behind the filly taking on the boys, and Richard Mandella stood as a statue, just taking it in, absorbing the moment, so proud of what she was able to do. Let's jump into this post parade for race number 7. The first horse goes by with Junior Alvarado in the saddle. Here is Charlie's Tabame JK, part of the speed.
Yeah, I'm looking for this horse to be a little bit forward, maybe sit in the pocket. If they make the lead, great. If not, sit right in there behind the leaders.
Mischief River, a little unconventional off those last few starts.
You don't see this very often. Coming out of a 1,000-yard race at Los Alamitos, trying a mile on the turf at Del Mar. Maybe that's why he's 40-1.
Arrakis up next, stretching out to the mile.
Yeah, no, Simon likes this horse stretching out. I like the inside draw. Should be able to get cover, should be able to save ground.
The 5 is scratched. The 6, Centro del Entero, first off the claim for Hector Palma.
Yes, new barn today. And Hector Palma good in this situation. About 27%. Doesn't claim a lot, but when he does, they're effective.
Captain Chuchi's, this horse knows how to get to the winner's circle. The 7 is a 6-time winner in 23 starts.
Yeah, Captain Chuchi's showed speed last time out and backed up in for the 100,000.
Lonesome Stew up next, another sprinter stretching out.
I don't like stretch outs when they're outside of horses. They usually don't get cover and they lose ground.
Tempest Velat will be up next, a big long shot at 30-1. The barn a little cold this season.
Yes, just 1 for 36, and he's been beaten by several of these today.
The bettors respect the 10 first piece. He's your current favorite at 5-2.
He's getting Lasix back on. He's drawn outside. But he's tactical enough that I think if he can end up in the 2 or the 3 path, Mike Smith would consider that a victory.
Mo running first time on grass today.
Interesting. He's by Motown out of a Holland's Holiday Mare. That wouldn't scream turf pedigree, but he gets Juan Hernandez 22-1.
Here is Richard Mandella's entrant in this race, Man Among Men.
He's going to have to be a man among men from that outside draw.
And War at Sea draws in. He's 9-1.
Yeah, for Julian Lepereau, another one who's just going to have to sit and suffer. A big late move from off the pace. He'll just have to make a left-hand turn, save ground.
Little lackadaisical out there as well in this post parade. 7 minutes until post time for race number 7 on the program here at Del Mar. We'll be on the turf course for a 1-mile journey. It is the start of your 50-cent late pick 5. It's not just a racetrack, it is a lifestyle here. Steps from the Pacific Ocean. Head on over to Dog Beach, play a little volleyball. We're truly where the turf meets the surf here on America's Day at Del Mar. minutes until post time for race number 7. Welcome back to America's Day at Del Mar. Beautiful look from the Pacific Ocean right here to the turf course. And in advance of race number 7, our current favorite is the 10-horse First Piece, trained by Mark Glatt. Michelle is with him now. We'll get that sorted out. We'll jump back to Michelle just as soon as we can. But as they finish up this warm-up here, we'll have the opportunity to talk about a few more of these runners. JK, who's your top selection in this group? Have you given us your top pick yet?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the 2. Charlie's to Blame. You know, Simon and I think have the same thought process, different horses, where I think finding forward position and saving ground on this turf course means a lot. And I feel like Charlie's to Blame is the type of horse that should be able to pop away from there, has that tactical speed, and can sit either on the front end, make the front, or sit right in the pocket, which is one of the best places you can be in a turf race, especially here at Del Mar.
Yeah, I'm looking at those last couple of races. Detain, you'll see against stakes competition. Ironman Cal is a stakes performer. Charlie's to Blame, the 2-horse, 5-1 right now, JK's pick. All right, let's get back to Michelle.
Okay. Guys, joined by Mark Glatt, who has a pair in here, including the favorite First Piece. Mark, what is it about this track he seems to like?
Well, he runs great down the hill up at Santa Anita, and he's just a very honest, hard-trying horse that gives his effort. I don't think he's really too particular about which turf course he runs on.
You also have Lonesome Stew in here, stretching out to a mile. What's the plan with him?
Well, there's quite a little bit of early speed on, at least on paper, so they're both going to have to kind of figure out a trip, I think. I was thinking maybe he would be the...
Plenty of speed, as you heard from Mark Glatt in here. Another one of the sprinters stretching out is Lonesome Stew. Simon, are you looking to a speed horse here, or rather one that might be rallying from off the pace?
You've worked with me long enough over the years. You know my angle is a sprinter stretching out with a pedigree to go long. The bottom line for me is I want to see horses that have an even running style when they're sprinting. I don't want to see deep closes like we saw earlier today in the Green Flash stretching out. So that's why I went with the 4 Arrakis. I gave a good look to both the horses that Maggie mentioned, Arrakis and Lonesome Stew. But Arrakis, to me, he's by Bernardini. He's never gone around 2 turns. I think you're going to love the distance today.
And Maggie was mentioning earlier in the paddock, he was nice and calm, presenting good energy as we get closer to post time, maybe setting up for a good effort on the stretch out. Maggie, what else can you tell us about this field as we're inside of a minute until post time?
Christina, I'll look at the horse to the inside. That is Adios Cole, who does come out of Florida Bred Company. However, those Florida Breds that he ran against on the turf were pretty talented, including a horse by the name Tank, Uncle's Gold, Sherlock's Jewel, went in against Open Company. They're all right. They would class up pretty nicely against this crew here. So Adios Cole, he does have to overcome a bit of a layoff, but to my eye, and while I'm not familiar with him, he did look fit enough to me as he comes in here for Sam Walensky. And last time, he almost had the impossible, or he did have the impossible Gulfstream Park trip in which he was in the 2 to 3 path the entire way around there, 4 wide into the stretch behind Tank, who was expertly ridden on the front end. I thought he stayed on incredibly well. So if he can come back off the layoff and repeat a similar performance, he has handled himself beautifully here at Del Mar. I think it puts him in the mix. The board would suggest that too, Christina, as he's 9-2. But Simon, I'm riding on your coattails. I couldn't get past Arrakis. It does look a little warm out there, but it's not like he's expending too much energy.
Maggie, thank you. Great information all around. 4-1 on the inside runner. I want to ask you guys about the 7 in here, Captain Choo-Cheese, because I'm looking at his form for George Papadopoulos. He's 9-1 right now. This is a horse that at one point rattled off 6 consecutive victories, albeit separated by some layoff lines. Are there any excuses, Simon, for those last 2 races? Can we give him another chance?
Yes, we can. And I have my handicap and angles. I'm always willing to give a horse, Jonathan, an excuse when they go to the sidelines and one when they come back. And that's exactly what you see on paper there. That race when he went to the sidelines was against Almendarez. He's a horse that I like in the last race today. So on form, he's good. Today's the day he's got to fire. If he doesn't fire today, second off the layoff, then I don't think it's his race to win.
Yeah, I completely agree. Obviously, if you have a long break and you don't run well, there's a reason why you didn't run well.
Yep.
That's why you got a long break. Then when you come back, like you mentioned, there's an opportunity to improve off of that. I wouldn't talk anyone off this horse.
Final thoughts, JK? Anyone we're forgetting? Any horse we should mention that hasn't had a word yet?
Who are we forgetting? No, I mean, look, I think that the 2 and the 10, to me, make the most sense, obviously. I think Simon's Case with the 4, I've got no problem there. And then the 7 was a horse I kind of had as a fringe B type of horse if you're playing ABs in your multi-race wager.
This horse is getting some play. The 1 real quick that Maggie mentioned, she mentioned Uncle's Gold. He would go second and run second in the United Nations. You know, a great one of Venom Monmouth, so that form is good.
There's some form in here that might give you some indication about the Del Mar Mile a little bit later on as well. You see some common opponents, so keep that in mind, especially if you're looking into that late pick 4, 3 stakes races in the late pick 4. And as you can see, the pick 5 pool is strong, 1.4 million and counting. You'll see another big churn in the next few seconds. Just a few more left to load. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. Larry Colmus has the live call.
Captain Chuchi's coming up. Man Among Men. The last to load, War at Sea. They're all in line. They're off. Good even start here. Mischief River showing early speed to the outside Captain Chuchi's. These two from Mo Running, who came out running in 3rd. And then comes Centro del Entero. Charlie's to Blame is 5th on the inside, just ahead of Lonesome Stew, racing for that first turn. Break of 2 to Arrakis inside of War at Sea. Then a ground-saving Adios Cole is next. Man Among Men, Tempest Volant, and First Piece the trailer as they make their way toward the backstretch. Mischief River, a long shot leader here, ran a 23 flat quarter, leads it by a length to Captain Chuchi's. Centro del Entero is 3rd on the inside. Mo Running is 4th by 2, then Charlie's to Blame. Lonesome Stew still about 6 lengths behind and 2 clear of Arrakis, running alongside of War at Sea. Adios Cole right next to Man Among Men up the backstretch. Tempest Volant and First Piece at the back. 46.53 the half mile. Racing for the far turn, Mischief River. A half length on top, Captain Chuchi's on the outside 2nd. 2.5 lengths back, and then comes Centro del Entero. Mo Running to the outside, and creeping up to them is Lonesome Stew, who's moving well 3 wide. Charlie's to Blame is in behind them, and then comes Arrakis and War at Sea, and they're coming to the top of the stretch where Lonesome Stew has kicked it in with a rush to the front with 1 furlong to run. Lonesome Stew pulls away to lead by 3. Charlie's to Blame is next as they come down to the last 16th. Antonio Fresu and Lonesome Stew will get it done. Charlie's to Blame was 2nd best. First Piece came on for 3rd, and then War at Sea.
8-2-10 across the board. It was Lonesome Stew, the 8 horse for Mark Glad. Antonio Fresu in the saddle. One of the sprinters stretching out here, Simon, but he had position sitting mid-pack.
Yeah, I had the right idea, wrong execution. The 4 was further back. Lonesome Stew was laying a lot closer. The trip we wanted with the sprinter stretching out. And you look at his last race, he was behind Virat, who was 3rd in the Green Flash earlier today.
Yeah, unbelievable late kick there. I mean, he opened up by 3, it felt like, in about 4 or 5 jumps. There were some other horses, the 2 and the 10, both chasing, but weren't able to make up ground the way that he exploded away from there.
All right, Glatt runs 1st and 3rd. He's with Michelle now.
Oh, Mark, we got to talk to you before the race. This wasn't exactly the plan that you had in mind, but it worked out okay.
Yeah, he settled nicely. They went very, very quick. And coming off of sprints, I was just hoping he'd settle and drop the bit a little bit. Congrats.
Lots of happiness here in heading to the winner's circle.
And I don't know, First Piece, I missed the break for him, and he must have missed the break because he's never going to be last early on. So I'll have to talk to Mike and see what happened there. But 1st and 3rd's not too bad.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Guys?
Good results in the end, and isn't that right inside the mind of a trainer? You win the race, you're still wondering what happened with the 3rd place finisher, trying to identify where these horses came from. Let's pick up the replay, and we'll take this overhead with the drone. We'll let you know exactly where your eventual winner comes from. So mid-pack, sitting 5th to the outside. How does he negotiate this trip, JK?
Well, right here he tips out, and one of my favorite things about the drone is you can actually see how much quicker he's traveling right about now than these other horses are. He just takes them over here in a couple of jumps, clears everybody, straightens up, and opens up and improves his position.
Perfect position, sitting 3 lengths off the lead there, and you can see all the horses, they were 2 by 2 by 2. Nobody wants to go wide on this turf course. Saving ground is key at Del Mar. Tipped out, 1 easy.
Let's go back to the start. You heard in the interview there, Mark Glatt wondering just why First Piece might have been so far back. Again, remember, First Piece, the 10 horse, was your 5-2 post time favorite in here. Comes away from the gate in good order, but he must get shuffled at some stage.
Just taking a look here, he breaks okay, but just, I don't see any excuse really. He just took himself back.
Yeah, and I mean, I hate to argue with Mark. He knows the horse better than we do, but I think exactly what he thought couldn't have happened actually did happen. He broke well, and he did take himself back to last.
Saving ground at a premium, getting that tactical trip as well, having positional speed. We'll definitely use all of those lessons coming up a little bit later on. Our last race on the day is the Del Mar Mile. Guys, it was very enjoyable. Nice to be with you today. Good luck the rest of the day.
Thanks, looking forward to it. Who's your pick in the Pacific Classic?
Knightsbridge. I want him to be the super horse that we all hope he can be and roll into the Breeders' Cup Classic as another from Bill Mott's barn. We're going to step aside for a quick commercial timeout. Speaking of Bill Mott, he has been in this position before. Knightsbridge is your favorite in this year's Pacific Classic. We know he's fast. But can he do it again? And can he do it at 1.25 miles? We'll find out.
For 11 lifetime, but there are some things he hasn't accomplished yet. One being the well, there's some things that the regally bred Knightsbridge is good at, and that is winning races. He is 7 for 11 lifetime, but there are some things he hasn't accomplished yet. One being the 1.25 mile distance. Second,
America's Day at Del Mar is brought to you by the California Thoroughbred Breeders Association. It pays to be Calbred. And in our most recent race, race number 7, it paid to identify the speed as Lonesome Stew. Stretch it out today, gets the win, and is a Calbred, getting the victory here against Open Company. Calbreds, yeah, they can win in those rich maiden special weight races on a daily basis in California. They can win in the Golden State Stakes Series, and they can win an open company, as we see here for trainer Mark Glatt, Antonio Frezu aboard, and Lonesome Stew owned by Linear Banache. Grey Aron filly by Grayson out of the Maria's Montmere Stash was bred by Nick Alexander here in the Golden State of California. Welcome back to our set just off the paddock here at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club, the field assembling for race number 8. But we've assembled some new personalities here on the set. One of them happens to be a Breeders' Cup Mile winning jockey, as well as a Belmont Stakes winning jockey, Jose Valdivia Jr. The other is Mike Joyce. Mike Joyce, who is one of the best broadcasters in the country. You have seen him on FanDuel. We've seen him here on the Fox Sports family of networks. But I want to start with you, Jose. Aside from the accomplishments you've had in your career, one of the things you have been is a constant presence here at Del Mar during the summer. What do you love about riding here?
It's just the atmosphere. I think the vibe at Del Mar, just nothing beats it. The weather's usually a lot nicer than what it's been this summer, but bar none, just the vibe and just being here at the Seaside Oval, nothing like it.
Mike, you've been coming here for about 25 years, and it never tires. It's different every time.
It's different every time, and this day is usually the biggest day of the meet, right? Because it's the Pacific Classic. It's the richest race run in California, and it's bringing in the biggest stars in the game. We've seen some of the biggest names we've ever seen in California take this race home, and if you want to be considered one of the greats, this one's going to be circled on your calendar. However, the complexion of this race changed dramatically over the last month. We were expecting a showdown of Nysos and journalism. They've both retired in the last 3 weeks, so now we have a much different field, a much larger field, and a way better betting race.
Yeah, and our favorite was second to Nysos, Knightsbridge, and now carries the mantle as the favorite. That will be race number 10 on the card. Our next race, as we mentioned, is race number 8 on the program, a mile here on the main track. Now, we have some significant scratches. The 1, Charlie Foxtrot, is out. The 4, Native Land, is out. The 6, Frosty Indulgence, is out. We sit about 17 minutes away from this race, so it gives us some time to talk about the feature race, and that is the Pacific Classic. Interesting horse in here, Mike, that we followed for quite some time. Talking about the filly, Almond Joy, for a trainer everyone roots for on this circuit, Aggie Ordonez.
Well, it was the greatest story of the summer meet here in 2025. Almond Joy not only beating Calabrese, but then she ventured out into Open Company in the Torrey Pines, beat Open Company. She's now a multiple graded stakes winner, and she's trying the boys for a number of reasons. One, she deserves it. The 1.25 mile distance, though, hits her right between the eyes. And Aggie Ordonez has said she's wanted to get her going longer and longer. She's 20-1 for a reason. She would have to improve dramatically to beat the best horses in here. But a filly like this, at the age of 4, the way she's improving, the way she's been running, she deserves a shot. And there would be no better story in this year's Pacific Classic than if she were to win.
Yeah, we talked about Beholder, a female racehorse who dominated this group back in 2015. But as Mike mentioned, Almond Joy would really have to step it up. They all got to step it up against Knightsbridge. Maggie is with the horse to beat.
Well, there's some things that the regally bred Knightsbridge is good at, and that is winning races. He is 7 for 11 lifetime, but there are some things he hasn't accomplished yet. One being the 1.25 mile distance. Second, a Grade 1. Now, with the possibility of winning the Grade 1 Pacific Classic, he could accomplish both things. But this wasn't always the plan for Knightsbridge. They were using that Monmouth Cup to bridge to the Forego, going the 7 furlongs at Saratoga. But after that huge performance, that 122 buyer at Monmouth, well, that made his Hall of Fame trainer change plans. I caught up with Bill Mott earlier this week at Saratoga to talk about the decision.
We'd always wondered how he would be at 2 turns. We never had the opportunity before the Monmouth Cup, and there was kind of a little break in, the races, what was available at a mile or 7/8 of a mile, something that he had been successful at before. It came under discussion, and we decided that the 2-turn race at that time wasn't going to interfere with anything else that we had planned. So it was a time to find out and just see it for ourselves what would happen. And as you said, it was a little jaw-dropping. I mean, it was very, a very exceptional race for him. And now, of course, we're going to the Pacific Classic. That's 1 more furlong, and they've got to do it again. So he was good at 9 furlongs at Monmouth. We'll have to see how he does at 10 furlongs at Del Mar.
horse that has always shown brilliance at times, but staying on the racetrack was always his Achilles heel. It seems like this year you've finally been able to have some continuity to his campaign. How much has that played a role in the big performances?
Well, I would say early on, I mean, it was stop and go, stop and go. We'd get 1 or 2 races and then we'd have to stop and give him some time. And now, once he's matured and we've got him through all that, we were able to put several races together. So, you know, I think that has a lot to do with, you know, experience, conditioning, the whole thing. I mean, I think when we finally got the opportunity to run a 1 1/8 miles, we felt like, you know, he had enough bottom in him that we could go ahead and do it, and it paid off.
And we have Junior Alvarado, the regular rider for Bill Mott, coming in to ride. So you got the outside post, Jose. When you look at this field, what does the pace look like to you? And is Junior Alvarado in a difficult spot being on the outside?
Well, sometimes it helps. You know, he is actually going to be able to push the pace. So no matter what, you have to come out of there running. You don't want to be caught 4 or 5 wide. So you're going to have to make the guys to your inside make decisions very quickly. And I think he's going to fall in the catbird seat. Other than that, I mean, I'm looking at the horse's pedigree. He's by Nyquist out of a Bernardini mare. It should not matter another 1/8 of a mile. And the fact that he earned such a big buyer number, he's in care of Bill Mott, the best hands ever. He's not bouncing. I mean, he's the class of the race and the horse to beat, I believe.
And Mike, with the 1 1/4 miles, they start way at the top of the stretch. So they're going to have time to sort themselves out before that first turn.
And if you can't get a 1 1/4 miles, one of the racetracks you want to try to do it at is Del Mar. We've seen horses get that 10th furlong that maybe couldn't do it elsewhere. I'm still skeptical of Knightbridge, and I'm really skeptical because of what we saw in that Monmouth Cup. Yes, he blew doors off and ran a ridiculously fast number, a 122 buyer. We all saw it. He's going to be a short price. However, the pace isn't going to unfold like that. It was absolutely a paceless field. He got out there, he got brave, and sometimes they can fool you a little bit and look a lot better than they actually are. He's going to have pressure today. I'm not sold. Until I see him do it against this field at this distance, I might be swinging against.
A fantastic renewal of the Pacific Classic. That's a great look there. That starting gate will go all the way where that water truck is. In that chute, you'll see the Pacific Ocean in the background before that field 11 breaks out of the starting gate. We're counting down to race number 10, the much anticipated Pacific Classic. We've got much more in between. And when you're in San Diego, just south of here, you got to visit the Gaslamp District. Great place with restaurants and bars before you headed over to Petco Park for a game with the San Diego Padres or a concert. So much to see and do. We'll have more of it when we return after this. In downtown Del Mar, one of the most famous hotels is the L'Auberge. A lot of people make their plans to stay there, but they also party there. And this year, it was another off-the-hook event, the opening day after party at the L'Auberge Hotel. Make your plans to be here next year for the opening of the summer meet and find your way to the L'Auberge in downtown Del Mar. Back to our Pacific Classic Day coverage here on site at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. Absolutely perfect day. And Michelle Yu is with the person who has made this day possible for all of us here on Fox Sports 2.
The president of Del Mar, Josh Rubenstein, joins me right now. Happy Pacific Classic Day.
Happy Pacific Classic Day, Michelle.
I'm looking forward to today. I know you are as well, but also want to talk about the new partnership we have going on between Fox and Del Mar, announced for 2027 race coverage. How exciting is that?
Yeah, we're beyond thrilled, and this would not have happened without Mike Mulvihill at Fox and, of course, David O'Rourke and Tony Alabado at NYRA. So we can't wait to get going for 2027, and it's great to have you guys here for Pacific Classic.
I love being here. We were here for opening day as well. But what's the difference in the vibe between opening day and Pacific Classic Day?
Well, as we like to say in the office, opening day is all about the party and Pacific Classic's all about the racing. And Tom Robbins, our executive vice president of racing, is well respected as there is in the industry, told me yesterday, this is the best card in the history of Del Mar, and that's saying something.
Yeah, this is a sensational, not only Pacific Classic, but a supporting card as well. I just want to know real quick, too, because I see you all around. There's beautiful spots to watch the races here at Del Mar. Where's your favorite place?
Probably right where we are in the paddock. There's a little less pressure down here in the paddock, so that's probably my favorite spot.
All right, well, appreciate the time here. We're looking forward to a fantastic Pacific Classic Day and, of course, a great relationship for 2027.
Thanks, Michelle.
Guys?
So perfectly put, opening day about the party, Pacific Classic Day about the racing, and back into the racing. The field out on the track for race number 8. Scratch the 1, Charlie Foxtrot. Jose, we start now our post-parade then with the 2, Honky Tonk Highway.
Yeah, a horse that was claimed out of Churchill's coming back here. I mean, I think he's stepping up in class. I would pass on him.
Berlin Wall is 17-1. What happened last time out?
I don't know, but if you can forgive it, he's absolutely a player in this spot. He's got the ability, just does he have the recency?
Scratch the 4, Native Land. Here's the lightly raced Pure Madness.
Pure Madness, I believe he's a horse to beat. Third time off the layoff, to run a huge number last time.
Scratch the 6, Frasty Indulgent. Here's the 7, Magnify.
Best pedigree of any horse on the card today. By Justify, a Triple Crown winner. Out of Stellar, win a champion mare.
Clouseau in good form, but he's not good here at Del Mar, 0 for 7.
Yes.
And there is the 9, Santa Arena, who has not won in quite some time, Mike.
No, but today could be the day at 9-2. Coming off of 2 sprints, stretching out could be just what the doctor ordered. Joel Rosario riding better than anybody here at Del Mar this summer.
That is your field, the post parade for race number 8 here at Del Mar. 6 minutes away as the field goes out to warm up. We remind you about a significant day coming up on the New York circuit. And to be honest, it's a significant day for the entire racing industry. It is the return, the reimagined Belmont Park. It will happen on Friday, September 18th. You're going to see this on Fox. And again, on a Friday, they are conducting the $1 million Jockey Club Gold Cup. Expected to be there, your winner of the Breeders' Cup Classic last year, Forever Young, the Japanese champion, and Sovereignty out of Bill Mott's barn. What a showdown that is looking to be for opening day at Belmont.
It's going to be a magnificent day, and this is one of the most anticipated openings we've had in racing in quite some time.
Okay, back to the field warming up here for race number 8, just 5 minutes away. And Mike, where are you going to go in here?
So I like Santorina, and especially with these scratches now. You lost a lot of speed out of this race with Native Land scratching, and the one horse, Charlie Foxtrot, was going to be forwardly placed as well. I think Santorina, fast enough to get the lead, doesn't quite need it, gets to dictate that pace from the outside. Mark Glad is a trainer who never goes cold. He has, for 25 years, consistently hovered around 15, 16, 20%. Sometimes he'll go up. He never goes down. And I think those last 2 races really set him up for today. He went the extra 6.5 furlongs last time out. He's going to be fit. It's third off of a brief freshening between April and June. I think he gets the trip under Joel, and Joel doesn't have to get the lead, but if it's there for the taking, he can absolutely get it.
So Mike Joyce does practice Santorina. Who do you like in here, Jose?
You know, I actually like the 7. I mean, I guess he's taking a break, checking out the scenery. Just a horse, I think that it was a little further back than he wanted to last time, completely covering dirt, and it was very hard to make up ground that day. He still put up a run, came and finished third. He's been running some high numbers, and I think that there should be some kind of speed deal here with the shorter field. I think he could be more on the clear and start with a run much sooner than he did last time.
Both our analysts going against the favorite here, the 5 Pure Madness at 7-5. What are you seeing with the favorite, Magny?
I am not going against the favorite, Todd, as I think I have found my favorite.
Obviously, some technical difficulties there, and the 5 Pure Madness we're looking at 7-5. So again, neither of you went with this favorite. What was your play against the favorite?
Well, look, the favorite really is the beneficiary of the scratches without a doubt, because now Pure Madness looks like the fastest horse in this field. Last time out was in a race where Native Land won, but I doubt that the conditions were going to be recreated for the horse who scratched now to win again. Pure Madness was probably a horse that was going to take a play before the scratches because he went into that race at 4.5 to 1. He's getting fitter. He put up an identical number as the horse who won that race. At 7-5, I get it. I don't need it, though. At that short of a price, it's probably not a great win bet.
Michelle, what do you think of our favorite Pure Madness?
Well, since no one else is going to take him, I'll go ahead and take the favorite. A little bit earlier, he was odds on, meaning he was below even money. So his price has drifted up since then. I feel like he looked fantastic in the paddock. Like you guys said, he needed to race into shape a little bit coming off that extended layoff. And I have loved to see him here on the track. He was really flexed over and just looked in the muscle. I thought he looked sensational warming up under Armando Ayuso. Third start off the layoff is a form angle that I love. And Brian Corner is having a banner meet right now, connecting at 25%. He's putting his horses in all the right places, so I think that he's the one. Certainly this race runs through the beneficiary of the scratches. I'd love to see him forwardly placed. I would certainly play him in an exacta with the 9 Santorina stretching out and the 7 Magnify, who's always just right there. He doesn't have a lot of gumption to win races, but he sure does pick up checks, and he looked tremendous as befitting of his pedigree. He sits there at 5-2 right now, guys.
Pacific Classic is a day to celebrate, especially with our Fox Sports coverage. First time we've been here for Pacific Classic Day, and we want you to celebrate with us. As a Naira Bets account holder, we've got a $20 win bet protection promo going on right now. Place a $20 win bet on one horse in today's Grade 1 Pacific Classic here at Del Mar, and you get your $20 back if your horse finishes second. But remember, you have to opt in. Again, this is for Naira Bets account holders. It's $20 win bet protection. Find out more, visit nairabets.com to opt in. Sitting now at about a minute to post here for race number 8. I want to go back to a horse in this race, and that is the 8 Clouseau, because the last 2 races look really good to me, but something we were talking about in the post-parade, Jose, 0 for 7 at Del Mar. Does that mean something to you? Is this a horse who's just not as good here?
It does. You know, I mean, there's something about horses for courses, and you always want to see a horse that at least has won a race. He's run some good races, and it's kind of weird because he used to be a come-from-behind horse, and he's shown so much more speed his last 2 starts, which is very good for Del Mar kind of racing. But no matter what, you just see that he just never been able to win. So that's a knock against him. He's in form. Georgie Papadopoulos is doing a great job too. So he's also a horse that has to be talked about in the mix.
Can you counteract that negative with the fact that he's got 4 of his 9 wins at this distance of a mile?
Exactly. Yeah, no, that is very hard. You know, so he's definitely a horse for the distance, but just there's something about Del Mar that he just doesn't truly get along with.
Oh, he's a rarity then.
If you're a horizontal player, this is a great spot. It is a start of the late pick 4. It begins here in race 8, and then it finishes with 3 consecutive Grade 1 races. Race number 9 after this, the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks, our feature that we've been talking about, the Grade 1 Pacific Classic, and they will end the card with the Grade 2 Del Mar Mile. Maggie?
Well, Todd, I am standing in a great spot just outside the winner's circle. Going to see the horses break here for this mile start, and the breeze is coming off the ocean. I couldn't be happier. As we'll check in with your favorite, who I do like in here. That's number 5, Pure Madness. As Michelle said, he impressed. But taking a look at a horse who is coming in off of some fast races, that's number 8, Clouseau. As you also pointed out, Todd, he's winless here at Del Mar. Does he not like it? I don't know. We'll find out more today. But he is also coming off of freshening, and I wish he just looked a little bit tighter. And the fact that he's not taking more money here at 7-2 leads me to believe he's a little dead on the board, as we like to say. We'll see how he does, but no doubt about your favorite in here, Pure Madness, the one to beat.
You've heard our opinion. Most important opinion is yours. Hopefully you're playing it right now through your Naira Bets account because the field is moving into line for race number 8 here at Del Mar. Checking the odds as they move in. The 5 Pure Madness has gone up from 7 to 5, but it's still our favorite at 3 to 2 and has now gone back down to 7 to 5. Second choice is the 7 Magnify at 5 to 2, and third choice is the 8 Clouseau at 7 to 2. You're watching Pacific Classic Day here on Fox Sports 2. Larry Colmus with the call of race 8 from Del Mar.
Going in. They're all in line. They're off. Santarena on the far outside. Pure Madness. These two joined by Clouseau for the lead. Berlin Wall is away running in fourth, but just behind them. Then Honky Tonk Highway and Magnify at the rear of the field, racing into that turn, where it will be Pure Madness to establish the early lead here. On top by 3/4 of a length over Clouseau in second. Santarena is third on the outside. Berlin Wall is fourth and riding the rail around that first turn. Alongside of him is Magnify. Honky Tonk Highway is the trailer 6 lengths from the front. 22.55 was the opening quarter mile for Pure Madness, who's on top by a half a length. Clouseau on the outside is second. Then a line of 3. Santarena. Between horses, Berlin Wall is down toward the inside, and then Magnify, and 3 back to Honky Tonk Highway. So they make their way into the far turn. Pure Madness still ahead of Clouseau by about a half a length here through a 46.53 half mile. Break of another 2, then Magnify, Berlin Wall. These two trying to shake away from Santarena, who's dropped back to 5th. And Honky Tonk Highway is the trailer. Pure Madness and Clouseau have a 2-length edge on Magnify as they make their way to the top of the stretch. Pure Madness and Armando Ayuso turning for home with the lead. Clouseau trying to hang in there in second, and then comes Magnify in third. A furlong to run, and Clouseau keeps coming after Pure Madness. These two by the 16th pole together. Pure Madness and Clouseau. Clouseau and Pure Madness. Who's it gonna be? Here's the wire, and it is Pure Madness who runs out quicker to the wire than Clouseau, and then came Magnify.
Over the years, speed so dominant at a mile on the dirt, and the 2 horses who were 1 and 2, kind of a merry-go-round race here, Jose. They go 1-2 around the track. Pure Madness leading the way, but Clouseau makes it so close.
God, he made it close, but he just didn't seem like he just wanted to go by. He had dead aim at him. Antonio was right on top of him, but just would not get by.
And Armando Ayuso has really made a name for himself here in Southern California over the last couple of years. And this is one of the things he does best. He gets a horse on the lead, and he didn't really have a chance to relax, but he had him running within himself. And in the end, that final 16th of a mile, Clouseau never went by. He didn't go by on the gallop out. He just didn't want to pass. I don't know what it is about Del Mar. I don't know if the track comes into play, because he did everything but win this race. He sat a perfect trip. You can't blame Antonio Fresu. He did everything he could to put the horse in position. He tracked, but as you can see here, he just couldn't get that last jump by your eventual winner.
7 to 5 favorite Pure Madness getting the win over the 8 Clouseau, who will have to settle for second at 4 to 1. So 5-8 in race number 8. When we come back, our next race will be a Grade 1, the Del Mar Oaks, but we've been talking about the Pacific Classic. Before you guys go, want to find out who you like. Mike, who you got?
So, Navajo Warrior, and we actually just saw in that interview with Bill Mott how they arrived at the decision to come to the Pacific Classic. They weren't actually thinking 1.25 mile Grade 1 in California, but they let the horse tell them what to do. Navajo Warrior, this has always been a part of the plan. When Saffie Joseph bought this horse, it's really interesting. He was on the way up when he was trained by Tim Yakteen. It was only 1 race, 1 number on the magazine sheets, and that's why they bought him. They thought there was more there. And after that win in the Pimlico Special, he said, we're going to go to the Cornhusker on our way to the Pacific Classic. And in that same interview, he mentioned that the ultimate goal for this horse wasn't the Breeders' Cup. It was the $20 million Saudi World Cup come next year. So they have big plans for this horse. And so far, all of those plans have been coming to fruition beautifully.
Mike Joyce calling a price at Navajo Warrior. Jose Valdivia Jr., where are you going in the Pacific Classic?
You know what? I'm landing on number 7, Hit Show. I mean, I think if Knights Ridge runs similar to the race that he ran Pacific Classic in the Monmouth race, everybody's running for second. But I like this horse, Hit Show. I know he doesn't show up every day, but he's a proven horse. The quality grade 1 and the distance, mile and a quarter. Like Mike mentioned earlier, there's a lot of speed on this race, starting from the Japanese horse to the Forged Steel with Safi Joseph said last time we tried to take him back, we're not doing any of that. He's going to the lead. There's speed on the outside. And I also think that a lot of the guys that have been watching the races, the 2 races that run going a mile were won by a horse being on the lead, by another horse laying right off of it. So in your mind as a rider, you have to think that I got to be right on the pace. And sometimes we end up overdoing it because you think too much. They have to be either on the lead or right off the lead. And I'm just settling on the horse that comes from behind, Hit Show.
And I'm privileged to be with you guys on this Pacific Classic. We've shared many together, and I'm glad we got to spend this one. Jose Valdivia Jr., thank you. Mike Joyce, you know I love you.
Love you too, Todd.
A lot of people love Hit Show out of the Brad Cox barn. We just heard a great argument here by Jose Valdivia Jr. He certainly has the resume to win today's Pacific Classic. When we return, Simon Bray, Jonathan Kenshin return. It's America's Day at Del Mar. More on Fox Sports 2 right after this.
Candy Ride and Julie Crone are full of run though. Julie Crone taps Candy Ride on the neck. He responds like a champion. Candy Ride takes the lead. Medallion D'Oro's running his heart out, but we could be looking at a new superstar out here. Candy Ride, the Argentinian bred, and Julie Crone win the Pacific Classic.
The Great Candy Ride, one of those rare horses who could be a Grade 1 winner on the turf, a Grade 1 winner on the dirt, and he was a Grade 1 winner of the Pacific Classic in a time that still stands as the track record today. 23 years later, it is still the standard, 1.25 miles and 1:59, and now he is the standard for Great Stallions. He is one of the oldest living winners of the Pacific Classic at the age of 27. That is Candy Ride out at Lanes End Farm in Versailles, Kentucky. Welcome back to our coverage on site here at Del Mar on Fox Sports 2. I'm Todd Trupp, very pleased to be with Simon Bray. You can come close, Jonathan Kinch.
Come on over here, buddy. I feel like you guys want me to leave, I'll leave.
Oh. No, it's not
There
a
we
show
go.
without you.
Look at that.
I've practiced with you over there. And we're going to talk about Hit Show for trainer Brad Cox. Look, he's got one significant win on his resume, so he's got quite a bankroll. But is it that effort that we need to see here today to win?
I'm not sure. I mean, look, in music, they call it a one-hit wonder, right? JK, when you have one hit and then you can't repeat it, and that's kind of what Hit Show is for me. I've seen that one hit. It was back in the Dubai World Cup. He beat Mixto. He beat Forever Young. That running line looks good, but since then, he hasn't reproduced that effort.
I don't think that was the real Forever Young either. He beat the horse in name, but not the one that really shows up and has done what he's done. On paper, Hit Show makes a ton of sense based on his style, his accomplishments to a certain extent, and the pace in this race. I just feel like he's a little bit a cut below these types.
And yet he's probably going to take play because it's Brad Cox, right?
Oh, for sure he's going to take play. Absolutely.
Hit Show, part of our field of 11 in the Pacific Classic. Race number 10 on the card. We're getting ever so close. Race number 8 just has gone official. And coming into the winner's circle here in race 8 is the 5, Pure Madness, for a familiar owner and some familiar silks.
Yes, those silks are very familiar out here in Southern California. JMS Stable now owned by Samantha Siegel in partnership with trainer Brian Coroner. 7-5 on top. 5-8-7 is how it played out in race number 8.
And now we head down the stretch on this Pacific Classic card, and we finish with 2 Grade 1 races and a Grade 2. Coming up next, it is the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks presented by Keeneland Sales. I was so curious what the tote board would tell us, and it tells us, JK, that Kensington Lane, that performance at Saratoga is good to make this horse a favorite out here in California.
I thought she was sensational that day. I think she's a horse that probably doesn't appreciate firmer ground. So right after that race, I had heard the plan was coming here. So I like when plans turn into plans, right? Not like, oh, well, we're just changing our mind here. I think she could be very tough. The problem is that I signed a contract to be in love with Tam Tam for the rest of the year. So I'm going to honor that.
Okay.
I'm going to honor it, but I do think that one of those 2 horses gets their picture taken.
There might be a divorce pending in about
someone should have told you in the prenup, can't get the mile and an eighth. We're getting late in August, so thoughts are on the Keeneland September sale. For more on that, Michelle Yu.
Joined right now by the VP of Keeneland Racing, Gatewood Bell. Gatewood's been a long partnership between Del Mar and Keeneland, sponsoring the Del Mar Oaks. What does it mean, this partnership between these 2 racetracks?
Well, they're a great partner. We have symbiotic brands, and it's just really good to get out here and see all of our clients in California and support such a great card that they put together, a great race, the Del Mar Oaks, and really just say thank you a little bit and give back to so many great owners and handicappers that are call California home.
Including me, right?
That's right.
Now, also want to talk about fall coming up. We obviously, heading back there, have so much to look forward to. Can you just tell me some of the things for people that are going to be visiting Keeneland this fall?
Yeah, it's a really busy time of year, starting with the September sale, which kind of liken it to be like the draft for the next superstars, and it's also harvest time for all of our great breeders and consigners back there. So it's a really big deal. Should be good, and rolls right into the October meet. Everybody's excited about it always, but this year with hosting the Breeders' Cup, it should be extra special. And then we've got a championship sale the week in between, and right into the November sale. Should be a lot of fun.
Make sure to book our tickets in advance, right?
Yeah, come visit me.
Oh, I hope so. Heading out to Keeneland this fall.
Glorious place to be any time of year, but especially during the fall with their fall racing meet and the prestigious Keeneland September meet. Looking into the paddock here, there is Kensington Lane. We were talking about this race at Saratoga last time out. It was during the 4th of July festival at Saratoga, going a mile and 1/8 on the turf. Went just off the pace and finished nicely here, Simon.
Yeah, this was a good performance. I like this effort here. And, I think, look, is this effort good enough to win this race this afternoon? I don't know. But to me, the firm turf is going to be key here, I think, and I have no problem with this.
The one thing I'll say is when a horse finds themselves on the front end, but finishes like a closer, gets me very excited. And I think that she's the type of horse that does that. She's got the ability to get herself there, to be forward, but then she still kicks home like a good European closing turf type. I was very impressed the way she kicked away from them. And if she appreciates fast ground, she's going to be very happy out here with the ocean about 100 yards away.
Maggie, you were there at Saratoga when she made her first start in the United States. You know how she looked in the paddock that day. How does she look this day?
Todd, it's a night and day difference with Kensington Lane. She is acting completely the opposite of what she did in Saratoga. Now, maybe she's, embracing the California vibe of being laid back as opposed to Saratoga, which has a lot more energy to it, because that day she was sharp, she was eager, she was really striding out in the paddock. Today, however, look at her. She's quiet as a church mouse here in the paddock. She's also making her first start for a new trainer in Phil D'Amato. Now, physically, I think she looks great. If anything, she's put on a little bit of weight and conditioning, which I do tend to appreciate. But I do not think we are going to see this filly on the front end again. She's not acting that way. There's other speed in here. She's going to have to run her race from off of it. But when speaking to her trainer, Phil D'Amato, he has said that he has trained her with that in mind, training her behind horses, even on the dirt. And two, out on the turf course here at Del Mar, to make sure that she is rateable and making sure that she can still finish. But like I said, Todd, this is not the same Kensington Lane I saw back at Saratoga.
Simon, would you be concerned about that? Because we talk about a Euro bounce, a horse who runs so big first time in the United States and then regresses second time out.
Yeah, I wouldn't be worried about her body language there, that she's more relaxed. I think that's a positive. I love the form she's got. The two fillies she beat up at Saratoga, they came back and ran in the Saratoga Oaks. They were second and third. Her last start in Europe, she ran behind a filly called Precise, who's one of the top fillies in Europe. I mean, she won the 1,000 Guineas. She's grade 1 placed subsequent to that race. So she's got good form. I like the way she's behaving.
And Green Carrera, who's 7-2, makes her U.S. debut in here. Her win in the Sandringham is good enough to beat this field, right?
Yep. I mean, that's good form. I like that effort. And she beat some fillies in Europe that came back and was, third in the German Guineas Group 1 races. So she's got some good form as well. And she likes firm ground.
There's a look at Green Carrera at 7-2. Do you like her chances at all, JK?
I mean, look, when the Europeans come over here, you always want to give them a little bit of an extra look. But, like I told you at the top, I have a pending marriage with Tam Tam.
So you're not getting away from this horse.
I also love what Kensington Lane did. If one of those two doesn't win, I got to stay there.
Around Del Mar, you might find your betrothed on a big day like this. We'll be back with a more America's Day at Del Mar in just a moment. Welcome back to Pacific Classic Day at Del Mar here on Fox Sports 2. I'm Todd Trupp alongside Simon Bray, Jonathan Kinchin, Maggie Wolfendale here, and Michelle Yu with one of her favorite interviews, trainer Michael McCarthy.
I wouldn't say one of my favorite interviews, Todd. I would say my favorite interviewee, Michael McCarthy, has the one in here, Victoria's Dream. I feel like this filly is getting completely overlooked off of that effort last time out.
Yeah, this is kind of a plan we had by design to go ahead and give her a little bit of a break coming to Del Mar. Opening weekend, she was very good. This had always been the plan here. 20-1 on the board seems like a generous price.
What are you going to do for the rail?
Just bounce on out of there. We'll go ahead and be forwardly placed. Not too forwardly placed, but sitting a nice pocket trip, hopefully right behind the controlling speed.
Also later on the Pacific Classic, you have Malarchuk. Is this horse being underrated? When you look at his record, he's just kind of very consistent.
Very consistent. We kind of stopped and started with him out here in California since he's been with us. He's trained well down here. He, like everybody else, likes Del Mar, so we'll go ahead, bounce on out of there, and same thing, just kind of let Umberto ride his race.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Guys?
And a live look as the field leaves the paddock here for the Grade 1 at Del Mar Oaks, presented by Keeneland Sales. And we've seen this all day. Large crowd assembled around the paddock. As we said, opening day and Pacific Classic Day are the barometers as far as attendance at Del Mar.
Well, they're two, events that you circle on the social calendar here in San Diego. Opening day, obviously in the middle of July, and Pacific Classic Day, kind of the pinnacle of the meet here, and it's being well supported here this afternoon.
And the biggest race of the day will be after this, the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks, race number 9, and then it will be the Grade 1 Pacific Classic in race number 10 with Knightbridge waiting there to prove that he is one of the best older horses in America to essentially join his stablemate Sovereignty, also trained by Bill Mott, considered one of the top horses at the top of the Glamour division, the Breeders' Cup Classic division. But first up, it's 3-year-old fillies to test themselves a 1 1/8 over the firm turf here at Del Mar. Let's meet our field for the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks, presented by Keeneland Sales, starting with the 1, Victoria's Dream.
She's my long shot in here. She's going to outrun her odds at 20-1. There's nothing more dangerous in horse racing than an improving 3-year-old filly, and she's that.
The 2 looking at Diamond.
Yeah, she's going to have to find a little to beat some of these top horses, but I'm not telling you anything you'd already know. She's 35-1.
Simon, do you see what JK sees in the 3 Tam Tam?
How can you not? She's ultra consistent. She's always in the money, made nearly $500,000.
Here is the 4 Green Carrera making her U.S. debut.
Think World Cup. Typically, they're usually better than us in soccer. It used to be that way in turf racing. We've caught up a little bit, but you always have to be aware.
This desk was used on World Cup coverage. Simon is sitting where Zlatan was sitting. Here's the 5 Define.
Define coming off a maiden win into a Grade 1. That's the biggest jump you can take in horse racing.
I wanted a Zlatan impersonation. Here's the 6 Inbox.
Todd, something tells me you've got like 4,000 emails you haven't read.
I've got 4,000 peanut butter bombs I'm going to buy over at the Pamplemousse. Here's the 7 Peanut Butter Bomb, followed by the 8 Wild Like the West, who's a Keeneland graduate, competing here in the Del Mar Oaks, presented by Keeneland Sales.
There is some sneaky races in here that make this horse a possibility to get involved underneath.
And our favorite, Kensington Lane at 9-5.
Got the past performances and got the form to be the deserved 9-5 favorite here.
Love this name, and you don't have to kiss me to play Brendan Walsh, Rating Party.
I think Brendan Walsh is an outstanding trainer. Anything he sends out, I always upgrade mentally, regardless of what I see on paper.
That is your live post parade for the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks, presented by Keeneland Sales. What a field lined up. Eventually, we are going to shift over to Fox Sports 1 for the $1 million Pacific Classic. We hope you'll join us on our coverage over there, and we'll take you up to the most anticipated race of the day. First time Fox Sports has been here at Del Mar for Pacific Classic Day, and you won't miss any of the coverage over on Fox Sports 1. As the field warms up here for the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks, presented by Keeneland Sales, there is a look at the 10 Rating Party. We were talking, JK and I mentioning, like, you don't have to convince me to play a Brendan Walsh horse.
Right.
What about you, Simon? 8-1 here in this one.
I agree with you. I mean, it's 4-1 in the morning. I think 8-1 is the right price. Trip is going to be key here. The horse got a deep closing style. They come out of the chute here, as far back in the chute that you can go. So this horse is going to save ground and come rolling late.
And taking a look now at the 5 Define, the other horse for Brendan Walsh. Not often you get a shipper from that part of the world into Ellis Park.
Right, I mean, breaking the maiden at Ellis Park and got there via the Curragh, Garum Park, and Wolverhampton, another European horse. It's a big jump up, though, JK.
Sure is. And look, the figure didn't come back all that quick. He was a short price that day. He got a good trip. I'd like to see a bit more adversity. And a 40 to 1 on a Brendan Walsh tells me that this horse is not very live.
We are now just 4 minutes away from the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks, presented by Keeneland Sales. And taking a look at the tote board and where other money is coming, I have to ask you about Tam Tam. I know you're committed to this horse, but are you surprised this horse is all the way down to 2 to 1, JK?
No, I mean, I expected the horse to be bet a little bit. I thought that the races that she's run this year have been all really good. You know, I think she's run into some really nice horses. She ran into Imagination the Lady. She's run on big days. She ran well at Gulfstream. She ran well at Churchill on a number of occasions. So she's run well on a surface not listed as firm. There's a lot of things about her that make me trust that she's pretty darn good.
Are you guys ready to get in the teleporter?
Yeah.
All right, these guys are getting in the teleporter. I'm going to join them in about 30 seconds. We are going to head over to FS1, and we're going to make history. First time that the Fox Sports family of networks has brought you Pacific Classic Day. Switch over right now to Fox Sports 1. You will see our open to the $1 million Pacific Classic, the biggest race in America, here on the best sports network in all the country. Transcend time and are treasured as years go by. Like the timeless Pacific Ocean rolling just yards away from its historic grounds, in horse racing, the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club is one such tradition. Founded by legendary entertainer Bing Crosby in 1937, Del Mar created its signature race in 1991, the Pacific Classic. With a name intimating greatness, Knightsbridge has traveled west from his eastern base and is the favorite to win Del Mar's defining race. It is the 36th running of the Pacific Classic. Welcome to our coverage here in Fox Sports 1. I'm Todd Schrupp, and it is Bill Mott who finds himself with an embarrassment of riches in the Breeders' Cup Classic division. He has sovereignty back at home in his home base in Saratoga, but he has brought Knightsbridge out here to California to prove that he belongs with the best by winning the Pacific Classic. And Bill Mott knows what it takes to win here. It is the 30th anniversary of one of the biggest upsets when he brought Cigar here in 1996 on a 16-race win streak, only to lose as a heavy favorite. He's got the favorite here in Knightsbridge in this field of 11. Joining me on our desk just off the paddock here at Del Mar is former trainer, Grade 1 winning trainer Simon Bray, and championship handicapper Jonathan Kenshin. JK, I want to start with you. The significance of this day, not only the race itself, but the fact that Fox Sports is here.
Well, across this country, we know all the big races, the big race days. Well, in California, it doesn't get much bigger than Pacific Classic Day. And to have an opportunity to have this race on FS1 with our partners at Fox Sports, you get to see all the good racing we do at Saratoga for the last 10 years, it feels like. But now, we got a little bit of West Coast involved here with this Pacific Classic.
Yeah, and we're all in the same ecosystem. What you're going to see here is going to affect what you see on the East Coast, what you're going to see in the Breeders' Cup. After all, it is a Breeders' Cup Challenge Series race. And as far as the Pacific Classic, you have to start with Knightsbridge. His most recent race at Monmouth Park was brilliant.
Outstanding race at 9 furlongs. He was known as a one-turn horse in our sport, the equivalent of a 200-meter runner in track and field. Last time out, he went 800 meters, couple of laps around the track, one in horse racing, and he passed that test. Today, he goes a little further, maybe like 1,500 at the Olympics. I think he's got the pedigree to do it, Todd. I think he's actually going to get better as the races get longer. He's the deserved favorite.
Today's remaining races are presented by the legendary Claiborne Farm, doing the usual unusually well, and a great time to join us on Fox Sports 1, because as we come down the stretch on the Pacific Classic card, we have 2 Grade 1 races, and we finish with a Grade 2. We have a Grade 1 in front of us. The field stepping onto the Jimmy Durante turf course to go a mile and an eighth. It is the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks, presented by Keeneland Sales. You could be playing all this great racing with us if you're a NYRA Bets account holder. And to celebrate the fact that we're bringing the Pacific Classic for the first time to you here on Fox Sports 1, we've got a phenomenal offer to become a NYRA Bets account holder. You use this promo code PAC50. Once you're signed up, you'll be signed up in minutes. You'll get a $50 free bet on this year's Pacific Classic. Again, visit nyrabets.com/PAC for details. Use that promo code PAC50. As they approach the starting gate here for race number 9, the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks, let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
And I'm here with my co-host, Todd. That is Bailey the pony, as the field has way onto the turf course for the mile and eighth start, which is break out of that chute. Now, Kensington Lane, I saw her up at Saratoga. She was one that was very sharp in the preliminaries, but she was very quiet today in the Del Mar paddock. However, she woke up tremendously once she got out on track here. Joel Rosario, but taking a look at number 3, Tam Tam, she's one I saw as a 2-year-old. Boy, has she grown. And furthermore, she comes off of a devastating effort, I thought, last time out for Phil Bauer in Kentucky. And then there's the European invader. That is Green Carrera, as she's a horse that ships in here for Joseph O'Brien. I like her form. I like the company that she's kept, Todd. And she's
Obviously having some technical difficulties towards the end of that interview, but we got an idea who Maggie likes. Let's get an idea on set here who you guys like. JK, who are you going with in the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks?
Yeah, look, I respect Kensington Lane. I think she's a very, very good horse, but Tam Tam to me is one that I kind of fell in love with earlier in the year, and I'm looking for her to kind of step up into that big girl status, winning a Grade 1 here.
Simon, you're also known as the Lord of the Lawn. Your specialty is turf races. Who you got here in the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks?
I can't get outside the favorite here. She's faced the best horses. She's beaten the best horses. She's the deserved favorite. Long shot nod to the 1 at 17-1. She'll outrun her odds.
It is an absolutely perfect Southern California day. It's what we've become to expect over the years. A reminder about today's race schedule, brought to you by the legendary Claiborne Farm, doing the usual, unusually well. And we also thank the California Thoroughbred Breeders Association for helping us bring you Pacific Classic Day. America's Day at Del Mar is brought to you by the California Thoroughbred Breeders Association. It pays to be Calbred. Most of the field set to go. It's the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks. Some of the top 3-year-old fillies on the turf in the country have assembled right here at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. And to give us the call, Larry Comas.
And they're all in line. They're off in the Del Mar Oaks, presented by Keeneland Sales. Kensington Lane comes out well from that outside post and immediately establishes the early lead out of the chute. Will be Kensington Lane to lead them early, with Tam Tam away running in second. And then comes Define to the outside. Break of another 2 lengths back to Victorious Dream, who's down toward the rail just ahead of Inbox, and then looking at Diamond. Peanut Butter Bomb is next by 2, and then Raiding Party, Wild Like the West, and Green Carrera is the early trailer in the race to the clubhouse turn. Kensington Lane ran a 24.14 quarter and sets the pace here in the Del Mar Oaks with a 2-length lead. Tam Tam is second by 2, Defiant is third, Victorious Dream fourth, Inbox is 6 lengths off the lead in fifth. 2 lengths back to looking at Diamond and Peanut Butter Bomb. Then Raiding Party outside of Wild Like the West, and Green Carrera is the trailer, 13 lengths off the lead through a 48.29 half mile. Up the backstretch, Kensington Lane and Joel Rosario leading the way 3/4 of a length over Tam Tam. Define is third to the outside. Victorious Dream saving every inch of ground into the turn with 3 lengths to make up. And then Inbox, followed by Looking at Diamond. Peanut Butter Bomb is next. Wild Like the West, Raiding Party, and Green Carrera. Around the far turn, Kensington Lane continues to lead the way. And Tam Tam has been second throughout. She's a half length behind. Then Victorious Dream in third, followed by Define. Inbox is right in behind them as they come to the top of the stretch of the Del Mar Oaks. And they still have to come and get Kensington Lane. But here's Tam Tam running up alongside. Looking at Diamond is finishing well behind them. And then comes Inbox and Green Carrera from the back of the pack. Tam Tam's got it. Tam second. Then a photo between Kensington Lane and Green Carrera.
Those were quite some wedding vows Jonathan Kinchen had to Tam Tam, and they are paying off here in the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks. But before Tam Tam makes this move, we got to go back to the pace setter here at Kensington Lane with Joelle Rosario. She has the lead turning for home, but then it looks like she crosses over on the 1 Victorious Dream. We'll drone on a little bit here and take you overhead again. This is coming out of the final turn as they straighten out down the stretch. It looks like Kensington Lane tires and then comes over to the path of the 1 Victorious Dream.
Yeah, who's trying to get up the inside there. Typically at that point, when we see the pan shot, you'll see a lot of horses switch leads. Then when they come into the stretch, they lead with their right front. When they do try to make that move, they'll drop in a little bit with the weight transfer, and it'll cause a horse to shift over.
Meanwhile, JK, waiting to jump them both was Tam Tam.
Yeah, she was sitting right outside. She got a perfect trip around there. I mean, I think Kensington Lane also got a perfect trip, right? She was comfortable on the front end. She just wasn't good enough here today. Tam Tam sat right off of her, and when they turned for home, she just ran by her like she was still stuck there.
You could see that's exactly what happened. Joe Rosario was trying to initiate the lead change. We'll take one more look at it, and you can see the riders make that try to get that lead change with the body weight shift, and it forced that horse to just drift over and cut off the 1.
I mean, ultimately, it was a photo for 4th in here that your pace setter was involved in. Let's slow it down for you. Watch the horse on the rail under Juan Hernandez. You can see him just in behind our pace setter. And it looks like that horse does cause a lot of her own problems. Yep. Meanwhile, Tam Tam is perfect here. Junior Alvarado gets a win in the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks, but Maggie, he still has the biggest race ahead.
Bridge a little bit later in the Pacific Classic, but Junior Tam Tam, she has been tremendous in her last 2.
Yeah, she's been running very well. I think she's in a great form. Phil Bauer had it definitely ready for me today. Just today I was a passenger. Really, she just took me there, put herself in a beautiful spot, and when we turned for home and asked her for her best, she just kicked down very nicely.
She's been tremendous, Junior. Best of luck with Knightsbridge in the next.
Thank you.
Todd?
Simon, you and I happened to see Junior Alvarado when he was just arriving at the track earlier today. He's like, I hope we can get a couple. Well, he's halfway there.
Yeah, and I think it was more like, I think I can get a couple today because he had a couple of mounts earlier on, and obviously he's on Knightsbridge in the next race, our Pacific Classic.
Junior Alvarado will now ride at Knightsbridge in the Pacific Classic, which is next after this race goes official, but he's already got a significant win. He takes the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks, presented by Keeneland Sales. Junior Alvarado aboard our impressive winner, Tam Tam. Impressive is the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. They've been racing here since a summer in July back in 1937. The tradition continues, and you get to see it all here on Fox Sports 1. Welcome back to America's Day at the Pacific Classic on Fox Sports 1, and we hope you'll join us for a significant day for all of thoroughbred racing. It's the return of Belmont Park. The reimagined Belmont Park opens on Friday, September 18th, and it's going to open up with one of the most significant races on the thoroughbred racing calendar. It's the $1 million Jockey Club Gold Cup, expected to have in there Forever Young, who won last year's Breeders' Cup Classic, and Sovereignty, who we all wanted to see in the Breeders' Cup Classic last year after winning the Kentucky Derby. The road to the Breeders' Cup Classic you can see on the Fox Sports family of networks. We're on it right now today with the Pacific Classic here on Fox Sports 1, and then on Fox Sports 2 other big races remain leading to the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. We'll talk more about the Pacific Classic in just a moment, but right now we have to make recognition of Tam Tam, who puts herself at the top of the 3-year-old filly division on the turf by taking the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks.
She came west and she beat everyone fair and square. No excuses for anybody.
Michelle Yu joins our coverage here today, an accomplished horsewoman in her own right, and nobody does better interviews than Michelle Yu. She's with our winning trader.
Tam Tam victorious here in the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks. Phil Bauer, who are you talking to on the phone right there?
That was my son, Lincoln.
He sounded very happy.
He called me earlier. He said, put a bet $5 a show for me. I said, I'll do it.
Glad you're going to cash that win, right?
Yeah, no, this is just pure relief, I guess you can say. You know, we felt like we had some fillies the last few years that were Grade 1 talent, and we just couldn't get it done. And glad we could get a tag next to her name. She's very special and just continues to get better and better. So this is why we do it. This is why we do it. So very exciting.
What's it like to do it with Richard Rigby as well? Your guys' relationship is just so deep.
It's couldn't mean more. You know, he's been behind me from day one and done so much for me. So this is pretty special. It's you know, just I can't put it into words right now, but certainly glad we can get it done for him and proud of the barn. And it's just you know, these moments we're going to savor it for sure.
Congratulations. Savor that bourbon you got in your hand too.
Thank you.
Guys.
Phil Bauer, always humble in victory as well as in defeat, but today he gets to celebrate a huge victory in the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks. And now it's the biggest race of the day in America. It is the Grade 1 Pacific Classic. We expected Knightsbridge to be the favorite, but JK, did you expect him to be an even money favorite?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he would be pretty short. Yeah, even money doesn't shock me at all. When you run a 122 buyer in your previous start, you're going to take some money. People are going to lean on you, especially when you're trained by a Hall of Famer like Bill Mott as well. So it all makes sense to me why he's being bet the way that he is.
Yeah, I mean, you put the buyer speed figure into perspective. The higher the number, the better the performance. 122 he ran last time out. Only 6 horses in the last 20 years have managed to do that. Think of all the races that have run around the country in the last 20 years. That puts him in elite company. And the way he won at 9 furlongs, I don't think an extra 220 yards today is going to hurt him.
I'm looking at the odds board. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm looking at the odds board. I'm pointing my finger there. Finger is nearly the second choice. Does that surprise you?
It does a little bit. But although the success of Japanese runners in the U.S. the last couple of years, I think, has been a big influence on that.
Knightsbridge making his way over. He is the horse to beat in the Pacific Classic, and millions of dollars will be wagered on this race, on this entire card. The money room is busy on a day like today at Del Mar, but that's also a good lead into big money Mike Smith. He's a Hall of Fame jockey who at the age of 60 is still riding at the highest level. He'll be aboard Subsanador in our upcoming Pacific Classic, but how does he keep riding at this top level in the latter stages of his career? We'll tell you his story when we return. It's America's Day at the Pacific Classic. Just south of Del Mar is San Diego Harbor, and there is the USS Midway, now a floating museum. But back in its day, it was commissioned 8 days after World War II and was the biggest aircraft carrier in the world in 1955. Launched a lot of jet engines. So did the Pacific Classic in 2022. His name was Flightline.
Flavien Prat and Flightline are an embarrassing lead. It must be 15 lengths as they turn for home now. And let's see, Flavien Prat just shakes the reins at Flightline. And take a good look at this, because you're not going to see this too often, maybe never again. Flightline, 20 lengths clear. Flavien Prat takes a hold and canters in the TVG Pacific Classic.
How dominant was that win by Flightline back in 2022? Well, the margin of 19 3/4 lengths was one thing, but Simon, it was the comment by Bob Baffert, who trained the second place finisher. He said, the winner was so far in front, my horse thought he won.
Yeah, that was classic Bob Baffert. I mean, to put it in perspective, his lightly raced, 6 starts, 6 wins, $4.5 million in earnings. That was Secretariat-like, that performance.
John Sadler, the trainer of the great Flightline, but John Sadler is great in this race, the Pacific Classic, and Michelle Yu is with him.
Guys, joined right now by John Sadler, trainer of Full Serrano, also a Flightline. Let's touch on him real quick. Do you remember that horse, John?
Every day of my life.
I mean, how incredible was that performance he put on in the Pacific Classic?
He would have beat any horse in the world from any era on that day. I mean, because of the ratings, no matter what. I mean, it wouldn't have been close.
Now we have Full Serrano coming in here. He's running this race a couple years back, finishing second. I feel like he's had an unlucky 2026, though.
Yeah, if you really had to watch his last race, he stumbled badly, and that put him way out of his comfort zone. And he was last at Oaklawn, and only got beat a couple lengths. But, I mean, he was eliminated at the start. His race in the Pegasus was pretty good. You know, for him to get a mile and a quarter, you know, we got to get the right pace scenario. So it looks like there's a lot of speed, so we'll see.
Well, best of luck. He looks tremendous in here. Maybe he's returning to that form that saw him win the Breeders' Cup.
Thank you.
Guys?
John Sadler ending the debate there as to whether or not Flightline was the greatest of all time. Secretariat has always held that mantle. Then there is jockey Mike Smith. He's aboard the 4 Subsanador here at 25-1. Yes, he's trying to overcome the odds in the Pacific Classic, but at the age of 60, he's already overcoming the odds by riding in Grade 1 races. He's in the Hall of Fame, and it's because of his work ethic.
Man, turning 60 is not that bad. And it really isn't. Right now I feel great. I'm enjoying it maybe more now than ever because of the simple fact that it will come to an end someday, but makes me even feel better when I'm able to beat these young dudes, man.
It's So Happy pulling away to win the Santa Anita Derby.
If I've done anything right in my life and my career, it was taking up physical fitness at a very young age and making it a way of life. Since my mid-20s, I've been going 5 days a week. It's paying off now in my later years. My trainer, Brian Beach, has been training me, Diego Herrera, Juan Hernandez. I have the cold plunge, the infrared sauna, chirotherapy. Lots of ice. There's nothing better than training out with your buddies, man. When you train with your friends, man, you push each other, but yet it's a good time, man. It kind of pushes you through it as well.
This is unbelievable! Zenyatta! What a performance, one we'll never forget. Looked impossible.
Zenyatta, you know, she was just amazing. You'd have to have witnessed it to really understand how special she was. She always came from last and would just get up in time. Even though the margin of victory would be very short, it looked like she could have won by 10 if she wanted to. She was just, you know, that special. You know, I've been blessed to have ridden some really good ones out there, but I would say her, Arrogate would be another one that always pop up. Of course, man, Justify winning the Triple Crown.
He's just perfect, and now he's just immortal! Justify is the 13th Triple Crown winner!
Signature race here at Del Mar, you know, I mean, it's a big race. It's a very prestigious race to win. Subsanador, he's really had 2 excuses coming back. Listen, now we're going into the Pacific Classic. He can't have any excuses. He needs to run his A game. He breezed a mile in between races here at Del Mar last week, went a mile in 1:37 and change, which was really good, especially by himself. He's come back since then and worked 5/8 again, really good 5/8. If he's going to run big, it's going to be now. I don't believe you'll see me riding at 7-0. Now, I'm not going to say, you know, listen, if I can get another 2 years out of my career, I'd be extremely happy. But health-wise, I'm just in great shape, and I just feel good, and I don't want to stop.
And he has no reason to stop. Mike Smith here in a Grade 1 race, but earlier this year, as you saw in that package, he won the Grade 1 Santa Anita Derby, so he got to ride in the Kentucky Derby, and here he is aboard Longshot Subsanador for a trainer, and Dick Mandella, who obviously has a great record here, and Mike Smith has a phenomenal record in this race. What about our favorite, still at even money, Knightsbridge? Knightsbridge is a horse that had looked good when he arrived here on the backside, and as far as what we're seeing in the paddock, it looks like he's maintained that.
Yeah, he's looked outstanding training here all week, and he's carried that into the paddock here this afternoon for trainer Bill Mott. And I think he's, you know, the distance to me is not going to be an issue for him.
Maggie is in the middle of it all. Hey, Mags.
Hey, and I couldn't agree more. I think that Knightsbridge looks sensational here in the paddock. The big question mark, though, can he go this distance? Now, traditionally speaking, physically, I would say not. To be perfectly honest, he's shorter, he's more compact, he's a broader horse, you know, a bigger hip, a bigger shoulder on him. That's more indicative of a horse that wants less ground. So, yeah, I'm a little bit dubious. But as far as just overall health and well-being, you can find a horse more well turned out than Knightsbridge. As we'll check in with the Japanese invader, that's at number 3, Finger. Now, he is a horse that is one that generally gets hot in his pre-race training. That's not the case here, at least. He is outfitted with that red hood, which will be removed by the time he gets to the gate. And talking about him being a younger horse facing older company, boy, physically, he stacks up with them tremendously well. This is a big son of Gunrunner. Now, the trainer has expressed that he wants him to go to the lead no matter what. Well, he is drawn well to execute that plan. Moving on to number 9, that is Navajo Warrior. He has been dominant in his last 2 when getting out to distances similar to this 1.25 miles, but he's done so on the front end. That's likely not going to be the case today. He is a very high energy horse. I know that Connections expressed concern about saddling him here. He kept a lid on it. He is simmering under the surface, but he's also a horse that physically looks as though this distance is obviously well within his wheelhouse. And the promise is, Todd, is that at least in his lesser company races, he has shown the ability to come from off of it.
Maggie, I want to stay with that point. Lesser company. You know, you look at this field and their resumes. This is the perfect race for a Breeders' Cup Challenge Series. These horses need a win to guarantee a spot in the Breeders' Cup Classic, because that is going to be a deep field.
Yeah, and if you win today, you get $150,000 in entry fees paid, $10,000 award to the nominator, and a travel allowance. So there's a lot on the line here.
The Breeders' Cup, looking out for the winner of the Pacific Classic, and we're looking out for you as a NYRA Bets account holder with $20 win bet protection. Place a $20 win bet on just one horse in this race, the Pacific Classic, and get your $20 back if your horse finishes second. Remember, though, you need to opt in. Visit NYRABets.com to opt in. It's $20 win bet protection. Come along and play the Pacific Classic with us. JK, how are you going to play the Pacific Classic?
Yeah, look, I believe in Knightsbridge. You can't run a 122 buyer and let me ignore it. He'll have to prove it to me here that he's not who I think he is. I'm going to play a $25 double. It's like a parlay in sports. I'm going to use the 11 Knightsbridge in this first leg. And the second leg, the 9 or the 12 can win, and I'll be just happy with that. The 9, King of Gosford, and the 12, El Potente. In that last.
Point your smartphone at that QR code right now on the screen. It'll take you to that $25 double play. That's total of $50 put together by Jonathan Kinchin at NYRA Bets. Again, just get to NYRA Bets. You'll see Jonathan's play. Let's meet our field for the 2026 edition of the Grade 1 Pacific Classic. We start with the filly against the boys, Almond Joy.
She's becoming the 6th filly to attempt to win this race. The only winner, of course, Beholder.
Trainer Safi Joseph Jr. sends out 2 horses in here, one of them the 2 Forged Steel.
Got a lot of early speed, but there's a lot of horses in here with speed as well.
The 3-year-old Finger coming in from Japan, a little bit different how the grooms handle them.
Yeah, they come without the pony. 6 3-year-olds have won this race in 17 attempts. It can be done.
Mike Smith aboard Subsanador.
Big Money Mike shows up with this horse. That mile work, so interesting. You don't see that very often.
Longest shot in the field at 45-1 is the 5 Malarchuk.
Owned by Eric Johnson, former Stanley Cup champion and ESPN NHL analyst.
Original Sin was not very good at the Suburban at Saratoga last out.
He's going to need to run better here today. He's going to also need some pace to close into.
Hit Show, he has the most money earned in the field, $9.5 million.
I just don't know whether he's quick enough. He's got the right style on paper. Is he quick enough?
Beware of trainer Richie Baltus. British Isles pulled off an upset in the Santa Anita Big Cap earlier this year.
Yeah, British Isles. Somewhere deep down in there's a race that can be competitive with this group. But, man, it sure is deep. You got to dig for it pretty hard.
Here's the other Safi Joseph Jr. trained horse, Navajo Warrior.
How about this? You could have bought this horse. He was running for a $20,000 claiming tag here at Del Mar just 2 years ago.
And the Breeders' Cup at Del Mar 2 years ago, Full Serrano took the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile.
He sure did. He's trying to get back to the Breeders' Cup. We'll see which race he chooses to run in if he's able to pull this one off.
And here is our favorite, Knightsbridge. Simon, he's looking the part.
Yeah, I mean, he's fantastic. He's from the family of Round Pond, a filly that won the Breeders' Cup Distaff. There's plenty of stamina there.
I mean, it's just muscles on top of muscles. He is pretty awesome in appearance. Will he be the same out on the racetrack the way he was last time out in the Monmouth Cup? Looking at other horses in this field, there is the Japanese shipper Finger. He is a 3-year-old, so he gets a weight break in this race. He gets to carry 6 pounds less than his older counterparts. Let's take the filly out of the equation there. But 3-year-olds in this race against older horses, how have they done over the years?
6 out of 17 attempts. There you see the 6 winners. Arabian Night most recently. Of course, Best Pal, the inaugural running. And then Shared Belief, who was so dominant here when he won in 2014. The Japanese connections, they've been here before. The trainer was second in the Breeders' Cup Turf Fair in 2024, and the jockey ran in the Breeders' Cup back in 2023, finishing 5th.
And Jonathan, for 3-year-olds in the United States, that's the Glamour division. That's the horses we get to see in the Kentucky Derby, in the Preakness, and in the Belmont.
That's what makes the Derby so special. The Belmont, the Preakness, all of those, is that there's no get them next year.
Yeah.
One shot, because you can only run when you're 3. That's the significance of the 3-year-olds running in the Pacific.
And the significance of the fact that Finger skipped one of their divisions of the Triple Crown to be here at the Pacific Classic. So, again, right now at 6-1 makes some sense. Then there is Hit Show, who keeps coming down in the odds. Our second choice right now at 7-2, but we have not seen a win since the Fairgrounds back in February.
Yeah, he paired up with Original Sin. They both ran in the Blame. That was back on the 30th of May at Churchill Downs. Original Sin got the better of Hit Show that day. I don't know whether they're going to turn the tables today, but, you know, Original Sin, to me, is a horse that's going to get that pace meltdown up front and just come trucking along late. Hit Show, probably the same sort of style, but he'll get the jump on Original Sin.
You know, in the movies, when people are stuck in the desert and they think they see water, they see that mirage?
Yep.
That's what I think Hit Show is. I get it. The pace looks like it's going to fall apart, and he looks like the best closer. I just don't quite trust him. I don't think he's as good as he might look today based on the circumstances he's going to have.
Maggie left with the field when they left the paddock and is observing these warm-ups. Maggie, what are you seeing?
Well, I like what I'm seeing from Full Serrano here, Todd, as he was narrowly defeated in this race a couple years ago, but the 1.25 mile has always been a massive question mark for him, and he looks that way too. Like I mentioned with Knightsbridge, they're just more compact individuals. He was pretty amped up in the paddock, but I love the fact that since he's gotten out here, he's so much more relaxed. I think that's a good sign. He lost all chance last time out in the Oaklawn Mile when he stumbled and then almost hesitated, like he shocked himself coming out of the gate, put himself in last. That's not where he wants to be. Now, talking about Finger and how good he looked in the paddock, he was wound up when he hit the track. He's gotten a lot more relaxed here. He does not have a pony, which is typical for all other countries except for America not to have a pony. So he's settled down. They'll take that red hood off, like I said, at the gate. But I like to say that he was wound up once he got out on track here, Todd. But all things good as we are approaching post time for the Grade 1 Pacific Classic.
Let's go back to her talking about Finger. The connections have kind of committed themselves to the lead here. So knowing that about Finger and knowing what you know about these American-based horses, are we in for a ridiculously fast early pace?
I think it's going to be fast. I mean, it looks that way on paper. Here's what you've got to understand, though, about your horses outside the United States coming here. They might show speed in their respective countries, Jonathan, but when you come to the United States, U.S. speed is a totally different ballgame. And I don't care whether it's at 5 furlongs or 1.25 miles. Yeah, he gets on the lead in Tokyo. That's a whole different ball of wax here at Del Mar.
Oh, it's a different ball game. The way that we pop away from the gate, the emphasis that we have in this country on speed, it's like nothing that they've typically seen. So, yeah, great. Send him away from there. He's going to see horses to his right and his left that have run a lot faster than he ever has early.
Can we talk a little bit about the uniqueness of 1.25 miles here at Del Mar? Because I don't think people understand just how far up the stretch they're going. They're going as far as they can. It's going to be a beautiful shot when they load. You're going to see the Pacific Ocean in the background. But look at where that starting gate is. How much room are we talking behind where those horses have to go and load?
20, 30 feet. You've got to load them single file back there. You can't take all the horses back there behind the gate. There's just not enough room. You have to load them from stall 1, 2, and 3 and just come in single file.
This summer beat at Del Mar has been building up to this moment. The field is approaching the starting gate here for the Grade 1 Pacific Classic. Michelle, who do you like?
Well, Todd, on paper, I'm with the bettors. I think Knightsbridge is certainly the horse to beat. I love his outside draw here for him with his running style. I actually think that he prefers to sit right off at the pace, and he's just going to be able to get a beautiful trip from there. I have to agree with Maggie that the 10 Full Serrano looked tremendous in the paddock and warming up as well. I've got a really soft spot in my heart for this horse. I followed him throughout his entire U.S.-based career. I do feel like he might have lost a step watching him in the mornings. He still puts up dazzling times like he did prior to winning the Breeders' Cup, but he has to work a little bit harder for it. But you heard John Sadler talk about the excuses he's had. If he gets a clean trip, I think that he's a logical horse to round out some of these exactas. I think the forgotten horse right now, though, is the 7 Hit Show. He has looked sensational training here this week. He's been knocking on the door in a lot of these recent races that he's been running in since returning from Dubai, and I think the pace is going to set up beautifully for an off-the-pace run from Florent Geroux. Guys?
The betting public hasn't forgotten Hit Show. He's our second choice as they reach the starting gate at 7-2. We hear a lot about California Cool, but it's changed right now. There's a lot of tension here at Del Mar, and with good reason. It's the most significant race of the summer. Jonathan Kenshin, who wins the 2026 Pacific Classic?
To me, it's going to be the 11, Knightsbridge.
Simon?
I'm Captain Obvious, too. Look, the favorite was going to be Nysos up until about a month ago when he scratched. Knightsbridge ran second to him. By default, that makes him the best horse in the race for me.
After he won the Monmouth Cup back on July 18th, the question was, is he the best horse in the country? We're about to find out. Knightsbridge is either going to back up the Monmouth Cup or back up all the way. What a moment here. He's come all the way from the east to prove himself in the west. It's the Del Mar Pacific Classic with the Pacific Ocean rolling behind as they move into line. 11 top older thoroughbreds about to test themselves at 1.25 miles on the dirt here at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. Again, Knightsbridge breaking on the outside in this field of 11 as our favorite, Larry Colmus, with the call.
Full Serrano goes in. Knightsbridge and Junior Alvarado to the outside stall. They're all in line. We are ready for the start. They're off in the Pacific Classic. And Malarchuk comes out strongly, joined on the far outside by Knightsbridge, who will be prominent early. And there too is Full Serrano and British Isles as the field races past the stands for the first time. And it will be Full Serrano to take the lead. Knightsbridge well out into the track, running in second. Forge Steel third to the inside. And then comes British Isles, followed by Navajo Warrior, and to their inside Malarchuk. Finger is in behind that group, and then comes Hit Show, Subsanador, Joy. As they make their way into the turn, Original Sin is the trailer. The opening quarter mile was 22.68 seconds. Full Serrano and Knightsbridge are making the pace here in the Pacific Classic, clear from Forge Steel. Then it's British Isles and Navajo Warrior on the outside. Malarchuk is next. Down toward the rail, Hit Show, 6 lengths off the lead. And then comes Finger and Subsanador. It's 5 to Joy and 4 to Original Sin. Oh, they've blazed a half mile here in 45.45 seconds. And Knightsbridge is taking it to Full Serrano up front. They are nose to nose at an electric pace up the backstretch. and Forged Steel is 2.5 lengths off of them. British Isles is ridden to go. Navajo Warriors under a ride, then Malarchuk, Hit Show being ridden too. They make their way into the far turn, and the battle continues. It is still Full Serrano and Knightsbridge, and they've run 3/4 in 109.53 seconds. And these two are 4 lengths ahead of Forged Steel as they make their way to the top of the stretch. Malarchuk is next in Hit Show, and they're still going at it as they turn for home, and Knightsbridge is getting the better of Full Serrano. Knightsbridge has taken a clear lead here with 1 furlong to run. Full Serrano is back into second. The filly Almond Joy has made a run from the back of the pack with Original Sin. They're now 3rd and 4th, but there's no doubt about the winner here. Knightsbridge and Junior Alvarado rob home in the Pacific Classic. Original Sin got second, and then it was Full Serrano and Almond Joy.
He is indeed one of the best horses in the country. Knightsbridge comes to California and proves it with a dazzling win here in the Pacific Classic. Final time for the 1.25 miles, 2:01.3. But it's what they were doing early on, Jonathan Kenshin.
Those silks gave me chills 3 weeks ago at Saratoga in the Whitney with Sovereignty. It just happened to me again. Knightsbridge was sensational today. What he was willing and able to do early in this race and still win the way that he did, that's a racehorse.
They ran the opening splits of this race like they would run a 6-furlong race or a 7-furlong race. He was a 1-turn horse. We talked about it earlier in the year. I've been saying all day, I think he's going to get better as the races go longer. His pedigree suggested it, Todd, and he is just much the best here. To sit through those early splits and draw off from this type of field, tremendous performance.
Leave no doubt. The Breeders' Cup Classic goes through Godolphin Blue. They got Sovereignty back in the East, sitting in Bill Mott's barn. That's where Knightsbridge will return after this tour de force here in the Pacific Classic. Bill Mott with the 2 best older horses in America by far. As we take you high overhead, this is where Full Serrano's like, you go on with it. And certainly Knightsbridge did. But I was worried once Full Serrano disengaged that maybe Knightsbridge would get wobbly too. He never did.
He never did. He kept going on. At 45 and change, he's dueling with a Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile winner, and he puts him away with ease.
Maggie, these are one of those days where we're privileged to watch these magnificent athletes at their best.
Absolutely, Todd. As Junior, you just said, I thought Mile was his gig, but holy smokes, you galloped out in front of the field by 10.
Yeah, you know, he was very impressive today. Once again, same thing like last night at Momo, but I mean, just something I didn't know this guy could do, you know. We knew he got a lot of ability, but I know Mr. Mo, he always wanted to stretch him out, but, you know, he was winning so easily the mile races, you know, it was kind of like a question mark to try go farther, but, you know, that's why he's in the Hall of Fame.
Junior, how's it feel to ride the best 2 older horses in the country?
It's pretty special, you know. We've been working so hard for so many years, and, you know, finally get the opportunity to land in those nice horses, you know, it's make you really appreciate every single opportunity, enjoy every win, and you know, Mr. Mo, Team Godolphin, they always been very supportive, so, you know, I gotta really thanks to them for all the support, and, you know, thank God for sure.
Junior, congratulations. Back-to-back grade 1s here at Del Mar, and a big decision to make come Breeders' Cup. Michelle?
Yeah, we're ready. Guys, joined by Dan Pride right now from Godolphin. I don't have words for that performance, do you?
That's a wow. Knightsbridge, we've loved him all along, but he's had some starts and stops. Today he really showed what kind of talent he has. So proud of him. Appreciative of Junior and Team Mott for putting us in this position. He's another homebred. Everybody on the farm I know is so proud around the Godolphin world. We love representing His Highness Sheikh Mohammed and Dubai, so very proud.
I mean, what a performance this was. Now you have the top 2 handicap horses in the nation between Sovereignty and Knightsbridge. What a great position to be in.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. We're very spoiled. We'll enjoy it while it lasts because it will not last forever. We know how tough this game is. But listen, it's been a wonderful day, and we're very proud of the horse and the team.
Just want to talk about his performance right here. Did you think he was going to be able to put everybody away like that with the fractions they put up?
Well, honestly, no. I mean, you go that fast for 1.25 miles, that is very difficult. First trip west, first time at 1.25 miles. There's a lot of firsts that he just overcame, so we're very proud of him and the horse.
Boxes checked. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Todd?
Three cheers to the breeder from our friends at Three Chimneys, where dreams are born. And those cheers go to Godolphin and their homebred, Knightsbridge by Nyquist out of the Bernardini mare, Tyburn Brook. Simon, you worked for the legendary Bill Mott when you came over to this country. You know the man very well. We're sitting here asking Junior Alvarado, who are you going to choose between Sovereignty and Knightsbridge? What about Bill Mott? Are we just assuming these two horses are going to the Breeders' Cup Classic? Would he ever dare keep them apart?
I mean, I don't think so. At this juncture, you've got nothing. I mean, there's nothing really left. You have to put them against each other. And I think you just run them on their own merit. I mean, this horse has jumped into the picture here with this performance at 1.25 miles. Look, as I mentioned before the race, Jonathan, 2 starts back, he was sandwiched between Nysos and Journalism. They were both meant to run here. Nysos defected, he would have been the 6-5 favorite. Journalism was going to run, he would have been the 6-5 favorite. So you're left with Knightsbridge, who was sandwiched between them.
Here's the good news for Godolphin. They have 2 of the best older horses in the world, and they have opposite styles, right? Sovereignty's going to come from off of it. Knightsbridge is going to be aggressively ridden on the front end. If they go too slow, Knightsbridge will wire the field in the Breeders' Cup Classic. If they go too quick, it's going to set up perfectly for Sovereignty.
Yep. Incredible that we are just now seeing Knightsbridge at this stage of his career around 2 turns. He's undefeated around 2 turns and headed towards the Breeders' Cup Classic with his win in your end here in the Pacific Classic. We're not done on Fox Sports 1. We have more America's Day at the Pacific Classic when we return right after this. Welcome back to America's Day at the Pacific Classic, live on site here in Del Mar, California at historic Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. I'm Todd Trupp, very pleased to be with Simon Bray, Jonathan Kenshin, Maggie Wolfendale, Michelle Yu, but we're most pleased that you've joined us. It's the first time that the Fox Sports family of networks has presented coverage of the Pacific Classic. We're so happy you tuned in on Fox Sports 1, and a good thing you did, because you just saw one of the best thoroughbreds in America, Knightsbridge. Now the question is, can he conquer the world in the Breeders' Cup Classic? But let's go back to how he conquered this race. He's breaking from the far outside post. Simon, there was kind of a lengthy delay after everyone was loaded. I don't know if it was him acting up.
Yeah, I watched this when we were watching it. We were off camera. I was saying, oh, he's bouncing around a little bit. He's not acting up poorly. They're just trying to get him set straight, you could see. And they did got a clean break. You know, at the beginning like that, it's always anxious moments once the horses are in the gate. You just want a clean and fair break. He got a good job by the gate crew getting him lined up there.
I mean, look, this is 2020 now. We know the result of the race. But what were you thinking, Jonathan, as Junior Alvarado engaged Joel Rosario in full Serrano? He tried to back off a couple of times. He couldn't. And then all of a sudden, those wicked fractions, were you questioning his decision-making early?
Well, you know, it's racing like this puts you on a journey, right? I think at one point I said to myself, go on with it, Junior. At this point, you're committed. Go to the front. He ended up taking back, sitting off of full Serrano, and then they were going really fast. They were ding-donging on the backside. For a second and a half, you got to think this is not going good for either one of these horses. That's what made it so special when he opened up at the quarter pole, turning for home. When he did that, it made me say, oh, wow, he withstood all of that, and he still has this left?
Real quick, we all sat here and said, after a half and 45, he's got to be a freak to win this race, right? We were watching it, and he was.
Okay, so as we look at this winner in Knightsbridge, where does he rank with the top Breeders' Cup Classic contenders we thought of coming in? Horses like Sovereignty in his own barn, a horse like, obviously, our winner last year of the Breeders' Cup Classic, Forever Young. Is he right there with him, or has he maybe even jumped over them?
I think that there's no question that the three best horses in the world are the two from Godolphin, Sovereignty and Knightsbridge, and Forever Young. And I don't think there's too much arguing. Now look, the DraftKings Travers is going to come up here next week. We'll see a little bit more about Renegade and Golden Tempo, but for now I feel very comfortable with those three horses being at the top.
And Simon, this is the Whitney performance by Sovereignty after subpar performances to start the year, even if you gave him excuses. But that effort right there in the Whitney, what was the better performance, the Whitney and Sovereignty or the Pacific Classic here with Knightsbridge?
That's a toss-up of the coin because they've both got two different running styles. One's from off the pace, like Jonathan said. That's a great position to be in as an ownership group, to have contrasting running styles.
Where are we at with Forever Young? There was debate about where he would get ready for the Breeders' Cup Classic, and then his connections announced, very thankfully. It's going to be opening day at Belmont Park on September 18th. What do you expect? There's only been one horse who's ever won the Breeders' Cup Classic back-to-back. That's the great Tiz Now. That's what Forever Young is attempting. Where do you think he's at in his form cycle?
Look, he runs well fresh. Japanese horses typically are given the summer off, Jonathan, because it's so hot and humid they don't train. They cut back on the major racing circuits. But the Jockey Club, opening day at Belmont, that is the Breeders' Cup Classic in September. You just hope they don't empty out there against each other.
The good news is typically we don't really know which Forever Young's going to show up because he's always somewhere else.
Yeah.
We're going to know because he's going to show up here. He's going to run at Belmont Park, the new Belmont Park. And then by the Breeders' Cup, we'll know where he is in terms of his form cycle.
Circle that on the calendar. Opening day at Belmont, Friday, September 18th, the showdown between Forever Young and Sovereignty. Here's another date to circle. That is the DraftKings Travers. Golden Temple has had a magical run through the big races as the three-year-olds have progressed. The Kentucky Derby win, the Belmont win, and now the Midsummer Derby trying to take the Travers. Look, he's the leader of the three-year-old division. As Jonathan mentioned, now we got to figure out where these three-year-olds match up against older horses. But he's still got to take care of business here in the DraftKings Travers, and it's a deep field, obviously.
Yeah, it is. And it's tough, you know, to go up against older horses. He's got the same running style as Sovereignty. I could see them being back there looking at each other in the Classic for the first 6 furlongs, come running late. But we'll see how he matches up. Not many Travers horses have gone on to win the Classic in the same year, so he'll be in high esteem if he does that.
Don't miss it. The DraftKings Travers at Saratoga next Saturday on Fox from 5 to 7. I got to say one other thing before we move on to the 11th, the final race. Everyone tries to tell me about the 70s, and the 70s were a golden age of racing. I'm just telling you right now, everyone set aside all the divisions and appreciate what you're seeing right now on the racetrack. It is kind of a golden age of racing. Nobody ducks anybody anymore. Knightsbridge traveled to California. All the horses we wanted to see in the Whitney, we got in the Whitney. All the horses that we wanted to see and we hope to see in the Travers are scheduled to be there. This is a fantastic time to be a horse racing fan.
And a lot of it goes to not retiring the horses. We're fortunate with people like Sheikh Mohammed that can keep Knightsbridge in training, Sovereignty, and the Japanese keep him Forever Young in training.
Absolutely. It helps. It makes all the difference in the world.
We are excited to bring you all these big matchups here on the Fox Sports family of networks, and we got another race to come on this Pacific Classic card. We talked about the history of Del Mar, horses in the surf. Over there, we were talking earlier about Dog Beach. That was the area that in the early days of Del Mar, trainers would take their horses out to the beach. That was the great Charlie Whittingham aboard one of his horses seen on the beach and then letting them roll around in the sand. It's one of the most unique places on earth for thoroughbred racing. It's the amazing Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. In the grandstands of Del Mar, Chris Applin has been giving haircuts for over 40 years, keeping fans just as sharp as the horses. Her loyal clientele only leave her chair for 3 reasons.
They've either died, retired, or lost their hair. I love it here, and I plan to be here until I can't be here anymore.
How often you get your haircut at the track?
Honestly,
not often by the looks of it.
Yeah, exactly. You too big hair. That was a good one. I should have got one today.
I have to say, so my first major job was in South Florida. I worked at Calder Racecourse. It was the first time I was aware that they had barbershops at racetracks. This is actually common at a lot of racetracks.
Yeah, I got quite a lot, JK.
Yeah, it seems like you get one every day.
Your local racetrack might be the place to get your haircut. Okay, we have one more race at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club on this Pacific Classic Day, and it's a good one. It's the Grade 2 Del Mar Mile, going a mile over the firm Jimmy Durante Turf Course. Looking at El Potente, and this one is a horse that for a time was the best miler on the turf in California and trying to regain that form here right now at 7-2. It is a phenomenal, as we say, get out race. Tremendous odds board. 2 horses at 7-2, 1 at 9-2, a couple at 5-1. Absolutely great betting race. We need every edge we can get, and we have one with Michelle Yu.
Guys, joined right now by George Papapadroma, who sends out the one in here, Cabo Spirit. George, this horse, a front runner, nearly got it done last time. How much is that race going to benefit him?
Definitely it's going to help him. I mean, he was coming out of a little layoff, so hopefully with that race, he'll be more tougher today.
He's run very well further, but do you think a mile is his bag?
I think so, as long as we get out there and get so comfortable, and he should be okay.
Best of luck here, George.
Thank you.
Maggie?
Michelle will start by taking a look at the horse who has been the tepid favorite at 7-2 currently is number 12 El Potente for Dan Blacker as he looks to get back on track here. He was supposed to run in the Shoemaker Mile but had to miss that when coming down with a fever 3 days before. But Dan has been quoted as saying he feels as though El Potente does run best when he's fresh. Well, he gets that here, but he also looks as though he is fit and ready to rock and roll. What a striking horse. He's so long-bodied and elegant looking. He's a very graceful looking horse, which I love to see. The thing I don't like to see is his post position today. Now, he does move in a spot to the 11 hole, but that's not doing that much for him. A horse who does like to run forwardly placed, but I do think he can rate from off of it and be effective. You go back to that last race where he was narrowly defeated in that Frank Kilroe Mile, and who came out of there? Well, a horse we're very familiar with on the East Coast in Me Bago, as he is a two-time stakes winner up at Saratoga this past summer. So El Potente, I do think might possess the class of the field, as we'll also check in with an up-and-comer, and that is number 5, Detain, for trainer Michael McCarthy. I thought his race last time, his second in the state, was very impressive because he made this bold move up the inside, down the backside. He was further back, and then he got right into position with Juan Hernandez that day, and then he still had plenty left in the tank to finish with. He looks like your true miler, so I like a little less distance for him as he goes for this grade 2 Del Mar Mile. He is well turned out. He is third off the layoff, and sometimes that's when you see the best effort, Todd.
Who will be the best in our 11th and final on this Pacific Classic card? We'll return with the post-parade in just a moment. But when you show up at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club, you might think you've stumbled on Paris Fashion Week. Everyone dresses up to go to the races here. One of the most beautiful spots in all of sports, not just thoroughbred racing. The amazing Del Mar Thoroughbred Club will be back with the conclusion to Pacific Classic Day on Fox Sports 1 right after this. this part of Southern California, there's a series of beach towns. You go down there from Oceanside to Carlsbad to Encinitas to Cardiff by the Sea, and then you get to Solana Beach, and then you come to the hamlet of Del Mar and the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. It is something to see in person. Our coverage of Pacific Classic Day on America's Day at Del Mar is brought to you by the California Thoroughbred Breeders Association. It pays to be Calbred. Make your trip out here to Del Mar. The summer meet is winding down, but they do have a Bing Crosby season in the fall. And as you heard earlier today, the Fox Sports family of networks is going to carry all of the Del Mar meets next year in 2027. But we come to our final race on this Pacific Classic Day. Let's meet the field for the Del Mar Mile. Cabo Spirit going by. Here's SEAL Team.
This horse hasn't won since 2023.
Artis Las, Jeff Mullins, you'd better not undersell him as a trainer.
Yeah, be careful. Watch out for this horse. He needed that last race. Ran like a horse that got a little tired late. He'll improve.
Freedom's Not Free, 30-1. Any reason to look at this horse?
Oh, you can look at him.
Well, fine. Detained. How about this play? 10-1 in the morning line is our 7-2 favorite.
Yeah, I mean, he won here opening day for trainer Michael McCarthy and the Silks of Jabmont Farm.
Coming in from Brazil, first time in the United States, the 6th, Sincel.
There was a work on the turf, and most of the workout reports didn't love it.
Is Almendarez coming back to his best distance?
Yes, I like this. Again, layoff in tow last time out, cutting back to a mile. Like him a lot. Astronomer,
what do you see here, Jonathan?
Just a horse that's going in the wrong direction. Has to find some of those back races to be competitive with this group.
You did see what I do, right? All right. King of
Yes.
Gosford, here we go.
King of Gosford needs the lead. I don't think he gets it.
Scratch the 10 to fly over. Here's the 11, Twirling Point.
Twirling Point from off the pace. Finished second behind King of Gosford last time. And he'll come running late.
And finally, El Potente.
I mean, my eyes are going to be here on this horse because from this outside draw with a horse with tactical speed, he doesn't have to get a bad trip. Could end up just kind of like we saw with Knightsbridge, right? Breaking from the outside, having a little bit of tactical speed to get into position and hopefully end up in the 2 or 3 path at the horse.
Big help for him, though. The scratch of the 10, Todd, fly over to his inside.
Simon, we're used to seeing El Potente on the lead, but in his most recent start, which is March 7th, the Grade 2 Frank Kilroy Mile, he was well back.
He was far back, and he showed a kind of a new dimension here. I like to see him maybe go back to show a little more speed today, especially from that outside post. And as I mentioned, with the scratch of the 10 flyover, who would have been another pace setter in here, it's made his job a little easier because all the horses to the inside of El Potente don't possess his speed. I think he can get a solid tracking trip into that first turn.
And the 7, Almendarez, Simon, you were talking about in the post parade. This is a distance play, him coming back to a mile. He also likes Del Mar.
He likes Del Mar. He's won 3 out of 10 times here, 2 seconds and a third. A mile is just his best trip. He's a come from behind miler. Again, the scratch of the 10 maybe hurt him a little bit, and it helped El Potente, but I still think he's going to come rolling late.
Maggie, you're out there on horseback. I assume you didn't ship your horse in. Who do we give credit to? Who are you aboard today?
This is Bailey, Todd. He is Cindy Ellitt's horse, or pony, I should say. She is out here, I think, ponying a racehorse as well. So thank you very much to Cindy and Tom Ellett for letting me borrow Bailey here as we'll take a look at the horse you guys were just discussing. And I got to say, there is such a special setting out here as the sun sets over the Pacific Ocean, combining my 2 most favorite things in the entire earth, and that is the beach and, most importantly, horses. So very happy lady right now here sitting on Bailey as this last race going to post is Del Mar Mile. And Almendarez, I thought was just a little too fresh last time as he was coming back off a bit of a layoff. That's what Phil D'Amato said, and it was just a throwout race in which he kind of got banged off the fence going into the first turn, and he feels like this race should set him up for that race, I should say, should set him up for a better effort today. He looks fantastic. He's calm, cool, and collected. He's carrying his weight and conditioning incredibly well. So a horse that I think we can expect more from here. Moving on to a long shot. That's a bit of an unknown. That's number 6, Sincel, the Brazilian bred who did dominate a lot of times in his native country. However, that was going further in a lot of efforts. He is quite a long, lean horse, indicating at least physically he might want more than this mile. However, off of a long layoff, he looks really fit in here. So don't want to be too negative on him, Michelle, because you never know with a big long shot as he comes in from South America for Richard Mandella, who has done well with these types in the past. Michelle?
Yeah, Maggie, he certainly does. He loves a good shipper, although he's been a little cold on them lately. This horse certainly has the back class if he's able to step up into the company here. I liked the 5 on paper. He was my top pick, but apparently the bettors got wind of that. He's bet down from a 10-to-1 morning line, which was what I was hoping for, down to 3-to-1 favoritism right now for Michael McCarthy, but you couldn't have faulted him for the way he looked in the paddock. I also think the 9 King of Gosford, very playable in this spot. I've been a big fan of this 5-year-old since he first came stateside. He likes Del Mar. He rarely runs a bad race at this distance. He's coming out of a win in the restricted wicker here opening week. I think that his races that he kind of takes turns with Almendaris, I feel like all he needs is a good trip. He likes to be forwardly placed, but I feel like he can lay right off and also finish very well. And the scratch of flyover certainly going to be a help to him because he'll be able to lay a little bit closer to Cabo Spirit, who could end up being your lone leader if someone doesn't decide to take a swing at him early on, Todd.
Thank you, Michelle. And, you know, going back, and Michelle's seen many of these sunsets. Obviously, her husband's a trainer on this circuit. She travels the world doing a great job working on our shows and for international feeds as well. But they stay down here during the summer, her and her husband, Ryan, and so they get to see these sunsets. But this is what we're talking about. That's Dog Beach in there. So look at the palm trees on the left, the open area there. You see the lifeguard stand, that's Dog Beach. So at the beginning of summer on the left over there, no dogs can be there, and then after Labor Day, they can go back to that side of the beach. So Dog Beach is throughout the summer. That's where all the canines are in between there, those palm trees and the cliff.
And they have to time this race accordingly, JK. Look at that shot. You see the sun? They have to wait till it drops down there because the jockeys get blinded going down the backside.
Oh, wow.
So they time it out. That's for real. We've sat here and watched the riders walk around the paddock for 10 minutes for the sun to go down.
Yeah, and if it's at the wrong angle, they don't want to take any risks.
You can't see down the backside.
The angle here, they're going to finish the day in the Grade 2 Del Mar Mile, going a mile on the turf. Lots been happening on the tote board. We talked about, I mean, no matter who you like in here, even if you like the favorite, you get 3-to-1, but I say that, I would rather have had the 10-to-1 morning line on Detain.
It's a short price on Detain. I mean, he was very impressive opening day. The horse he beat, Charlie's Blame, for Peter Urton was second in race number 7 behind Lonesome Stew today, so the form is there.
The thing about Detain is, you know, 25 years ago, this horse would have probably stayed that high, but now that people get to see all these replays, that middle move that he made on opening day, everyone sees that now.
Yeah.
They know, and they were waiting to probably bet him back in the spot.
And we all know Michael McCarthy and what he's done as a trainer and out on his own. He now has Juddmonte horses, and he's had some at Churchill Downs when he's had horses there, and he's obviously had some out here, and it looks like he's got a horse who has the potential to be a graded stakes winner. We'll move into line as our favorite at 3-to-1, then a couple of horses at 9-to-2, but our second choice is the 12, El Potente. What a conclusion to the Pacific Classic card here on Fox Sports 1. It is the Grade 2 Del Mar Mile going a mile over the firm Jimmy Durante turf course. Larry Colmus with the call.
They're off in the Del Mar Mile. And Cabo Spirit goes straight out to the front from his inside post. Freedom's Not Free's going to go with him. So too El Potente on the outside, and they're clear of King of Gosford, who's away running in 4th. Astronomer is 5th. Then comes Detain. Break of another 4 back to Twirling Point. Artislas. Sissel is next by 3, and then Seal Team and Almendaris. It is Cabo Spirit and Mike Smith making the pace in the Del Mar Mile. They're on top a length and a half to El Potente in second through a 23:09 opening quarter. Freedom's Not Free is 3rd. Then it's King of Gosford on the outside. Break of 2.5 to Astronomer, who's tracked then by Detain up the backstretch, and Detain's about 7 lengths off the lead. After that, Twirling Point, Sissel in behind them, then Artislas. Seal Team is second last. Almendaris is last of them all. 14 lengths from top to bottom. 47.08 for the half mile. Cabo Spirit and Mike Smith head into the far turn in front, with El Potente 2 lengths behind in second. Freedom's Not Free and King of Gosford in behind them. Then Astronomer. On the rail, it's Twirling Point, still 6 lengths behind. Detain in behind that group with Sissel. Artislas is going up outside of them. Can Cabo Spirit keep on going? He's going to turn for home with a 4-length lead in the Del Mar Mile, drifting to the center of the track. Cabo Spirit, the one to catch. El Potente is second. King of Gosford is third. Then Detain, Astronomer. They're coming to the last 16th of a mile. And coming up the fence, it's El Potente. On the outside, Cabo Spirit. Between them, King of Gosford. King of Gosford got there in the Del Mar Mile. Detain came on late. He got second. Then El Potente and Cabo Spirit.
In the dwindling sunlight of Pacific Classic Day, our final race is a phenomenal finish. King of Gosford getting there first over Detain.
Thing about grass racing, when they go this slow, 47 is pretty slow for a mile here at Del Mar. You know it's going to be a blanket finish, JK. And King of Gosford, who, you know, recently had just shown gate to wire is the way for him to win. He showed a new dimension here today.
This is an unbelievable finish. They're a little bit early for this statement, but when they get right inside the 16th pole, I watch a lot of races. I had no clue who was going to win.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Can I ask something?
Clue.
Wait, did you hit your double? Was your 912 in there?
912.
We did hit the double.
Yes. Yeah.
Look at that.
How about the
Look at
double?
that.
12 and a half
Yeah.
times 2. A 5-to-1 shot here. 9, 5, 12, 1. 5-to-1. Over 3-to-1. Over 5-to-2. Over 7-to-1. Going back to the start here. Middle of the field, not some good breaks here. The 5 getting kind of hammered back.
Yeah, 5 comes in, 6 comes. Sorry, the 6 comes in, the 5 comes out, and they kind of meet there. 5 gets hammered back, but yeah, I mean, King of Gosford, new dimension from off the pace.
Let's drone on about the Del Mar Mile and take you high overhead as we turn for home. And how about our pace setter? It was going easy for Cabo Spirit. Mike Smith sometimes does this. He'll drift out so his horse can see the competition. But once he did, we also realized that this horse had nothing left.
Yeah, I thought when he went a half in 47, he had a good chance to maybe lead him deeper than this in the stretch, but that wasn't the case.
Instead, King of Gosford splits horses and gets the win. Let's check in with Michelle, who has our winning trainer.
Guys, Phil D'Amato joining me here. I feel like we've done this before today. Phil, great day for you. King of Gosford, back-to-back wins now. What did it take for him to get back on this winning path?
You know, this race last year, he got clipped from behind and cut up his hind leg. So it was just a long process to get him back healed up right. You know, we gave him plenty of time and just kind of, you know, race by race, we got the rust off a little bit at a time, and Umberto fits him like a glove.
Speaking of Umberto, he's with Maggie.
We are here trackside with King of Gosford, Umberto. This horse showing something new to us today, that he can come from off of it. Talk a little bit about your trip and your decision down the lane.
Well, Maggie, you know, today the plan was to sit right behind the speed because, as we know, Cabo and Potente, they are horses, then they go to the lead. So I had an amazing trip on the backside. I was just waiting, and then I do understand around the turn, Hector wants to go inside because we know Cabo, he goes to drift out. So once I get in the middle, I get a little bit, you know, it was a little bit intimidated, but he fought really hard to win. So congrats to Phil. And so I would say something about Jose, the guy that he rides those horses every morning. He's a piece of cake to ride. So well done to him.
So graceful of you to compliment the exercise rider, Umberto, but congratulations to you on a wonderful day.
Honestly, you know, it would be better, you know, a better result in the Oaks, but I'm very happy with my day. 3 winners on a big day like that, it's always a big day.
And a great estate to cap it off, Umberto Rispoli and King of Gosford take the Del Mar Mile, guys.
Simon, what makes Umberto Rispoli such a good grass rider?
Very patient. I mean, in the European background, obviously, that's where he grew up, you know, and he's an international rider. He's ridden all over the world, Hong Kong, France, everywhere, the UK. And he's just a very good rider. I mean, I think he puts horses in good spots, very strong in a finish. And again, he's kind of like Mike Smith off the track, you know, as far as physical fitness goes. He pays attention to it.
And how about this? The JK Double, remember, it's a $5 minimum. He played a $25 one, so 250. Well, 200, actually, you would do the 250 and then the 5. Yeah, 255 back. Phenomenal on a $50 investment. The pick 6 comes back healthy, $18,462.80. And King of Gosford ends our day. Hey, I've been on social media, and I've been monitoring some of the comments from our colleagues. Andy Serling says there's a new sheriff in town off this performance in Knightsbridge. And I love what Richard Migliori said. He goes, this combination of Junior Alvarado and Bill Mott reminds him of Plain Ben Jones and the great Eddie Arcaro. The trust that they have with each other. So this decision about who Junior's going to ride, I imagine Bill Mott's going to kind of be in that discussion in a sense where he maybe even just pick the horse for Junior?
I don't think he would do that.
You don't think he'd do that?
I don't think he would do that. I mean, to me, look, if I'm in that position as a trainer, I would let the rider make that decision.
You would?
You don't want the rider on a horse that he really doesn't want to be on, even though they're going to try. But I think the decision is pretty easy. We talked about this off camera, JK. I mean, he's won the Derby on Sovereignty. He's won the Travis on Sovereignty.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he leans towards Sovereignty.
Yeah, it's not what have you done for me lately. It's how many big races have you won for me? And Sovereignty and him have teamed up to win some of the biggest races in this world. I think he's going to stay right there with Sovereignty. I'd be shocked if he did something different.
Okay, so then for Knightsbridge, if that mount is open, it's got to be Flavien Prat who rode him in the Monmouth Cup, right?
Oh, I would think so. And we touched on this as well. The minute that horse crossed the wire, Bill Mott's phone was ringing. There were 10 agents calling him.
It's still ringing.
Yeah, it's still ringing.
It's still ringing.
Yeah.
And we are excited to bring you another huge race on Fox. It is the DraftKings Travers at Saratoga. Golden Tempo has been the leader of the 3-year-old division, a surprising winner of the Kentucky Derby, not so surprising winner of the Belmont, but now he is going to face Renegade. They've faced each other before in the Kentucky Derby. Unlucky trip for Renegade. He's at the top of his game. Golden Tempo is ready. It's going to be a great race, JK.
Can't wait. Can't wait to get back on a plane tomorrow and get back over there. Back to back to back to back. Great racing. It's a great summer.
The sun rises in the east, but it settles in a fine location, Californication, where the turf meets the surf here at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. Thanks for watching our coverage of the Pacific Classic on Fox Sports 1. And what a moment for Knightsbridge, proving that he belongs amongst the best horses in the world by dominating the Pacific Classic out on the lead. We made history today, bringing you this race for the first time on Fox Sports 1. Thank you for watching from our entire team. I'm Todd Trupp. Until next time, may all your photo finishes be winning one.